Number 1 Clemson is on a roll behind the super duo of quarterback Trevor Lawrence and running back Travis Etienne. Great quarterback and running back duos have made up championship teams throughout the history of college football. 15 years ago, Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush powered Southern Cal to a pile of titles and awards. 2020 now has the record-breaking duo of Lawrence and Etienne, and they're the engine that powers number 1 Clemson. Today, the Tigers running back has a chance to break a 45-year-old record and become the ACC's career rushing leader. The number 1 team in the country hosts Syracuse next.
All right, gentlemen, good afternoon. Here's the coin I'll be flipping. That is heads, and that is tails.
Welcome
that is
to Game
heads.
1 of our ACC Network football triple-header at the Upstate Memorial Stadium and Frank Howard Field, where Clemson will try to go to 6-0 for the 16th time in history. If they do it today, it'll be the 8th time they've done it under Dabo Swinney as they welcome the Orange of Syracuse here this afternoon. Great to be with Roddy Jones. In just a moment, you'll meet Larisha Harris as we get started. Well, we've already told you Clemson has flexed here. Last Saturday, they flexed for 73 points against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, 66-point victory against the Jackets will absolutely qualify as flexing. But before that, it was flexing their muscles over Miami, who thought they were ready to take the next step to contend with the Tigers. They weren't. This is the number 1 team in the country for sure.
Well, number 1 team's got the number 1 running back in Jennings, Louisiana's Travis Etienne.
Yeah, and he has an opportunity to put an incredible cap on a fantastic career, 129 yards from setting one of the gold standard of records in the ACC. Only needs that to top Ted Brown as the all-time leading rusher in ACC history. Think of all the great running backs in recent memory: Dalvin Cook, A.J. Dillon, James Conner. None of them can get the record. This guy has a shot today.
Well, Etienne is one focal point when you play the Tigers. The other one has got to be the quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence, Roddy, has become the face of this college football season.
He certainly has. And the stats speak for itself. The measurables speak for themselves. The height, the weight, the speed, the arm strength. But Trevor Lawrence looks like a guy who has grown into such comfort being who he is. The face of college football, the presumptive number 1 overall pick. His maturity has been impressive to watch, and it's propelled his play on the field as well.
Well, while Lawrence makes his 32nd career start today, Larisha, the storyline's entirely different for Syracuse and Rex Culpepper.
It is different, Wes. Throughout today's game, you will see specks of pink as they are dedicating this game to bring awareness to breast cancer. But there is a Syracuse player in Rex Culpepper who understands the bout with cancer. He was diagnosed with testicular cancer in 2018. After 100 hours of chemo, after weeks of treatment, he was declared cancer-free on June 1st, 2018. And guys, he has not cut his hair since then.
Great to be with Larisha Harris, our wonderful ACC Network crew, and the 9th meeting all time between the Orange and the Tigers. And Roddy, I know this is a team struggling in the Orange and the Tigers at 5-0, but this will be the ACC's best quarterback hair game today.
Without a doubt.
Lynn J. Dixon deep. He'll field the kick at the 3, and away we go from Frank Howard Field, and Lynn J. Dixon, 35-40. And across midfield into Orange territory to the 47. Go the Tigers on the opening kick. So Lynn J. Dixon, who was averaging 26 yards a return, had a 52-yarder a couple weeks ago against Virginia, pushes it into plus territory for the Tiger offense with Travis Etienne. Only averaging 87 yards a game on the ground, Roddy, but stats don't do him justice.
They certainly do not. Only 67 carries on the year. Just shows how good this Clemson team is around him.
Lawrence, a quick throw on first down. This is Amari Rogers. And he'll get 10, maybe 11 before he is taken down in the Orange secondary. Melifonwu and Mikael Jones on the cover for Dino Babers' team. They're waiting to get the chain set. Tigers are up and ready to ride, and they wanted to make sure they had a first down mark at the 37. Another quick throw. This is Rogers on the edge again. And 10 more for the Tigers.
Well, on the first 2 snaps, Wes, Syracuse has really packed in the box to make Clemson throw it to the perimeter. They're taking Travis Etienne away early, but Clemson's going to be fine tossing it out to a guy as dynamic as Amari Rogers.
Tigers with a 3-by-2. Orange trying to get there. Here's the throw back inside, and the ball is dropped on the way to Frank Ladson.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Second out.
First time we hear from the referee today, and that's Riley Johnson, as assigned by the Atlantic Coast Conference.
It's interesting to see sort of the game that Clemson has played. They went empty here and tossed it out to Ladson. I mean, that screen pass was, the tunnel screen was doomed from the start, as you saw. Coming from inside out was Jeff Canton-Arcou. Clemson sort of playing around with formations to see what Syracuse is going to give him here early.
Yeah, Tony White employs a 3-3-5, and it's got some wrinkles to it that you got to be on notice for. Here's ETN's first carry of the day. And Josh Black lost his helmet for the Orange in the fray. Tackled by Tyrell Richards. And there's a look at Black, the fifth-year senior.
He's also got number 62, Cade Stewart, the center, coming out. Guess his helmet fell off as well, or some sort of equipment malfunction. So Mason Trotter jumps in at center. Let's get a shot at Dino Babers.
Yep. Tony Elliott talking about Mason Trotter, his ability to play both spots last week in the win in Atlanta. Lawrence shoots it downfield. It's caught. Cornell Powell. Touchdown, Clemson. And the Tigers make it look really easy, Roddy.
That's how quick they could strike. Lynn J. Dixon gets the ball out past midfield on the kickoff, and Trevor Lawrence. A couple of short passes to Amari Rogers. Plenty of time in the pocket, delivers a strike to Cornell Powell, who's able to put it in the end zone. 5
plays, 47 yards in less than 90 seconds. Potter's Point is good. Trevor Lawrence dials up his 16th touchdown pass of the year. That leads the ACC in his second nationally. And it's 7-0 Clemson when we continue. Well, Trevor Lawrence to Cornell Powell. His second touchdown catch of the year. Tigers lead 7-0. And now Syracuse will touch it for the first time. And you get a look at Powell, senior from Greenville, North Carolina. Nakeem Johnson deep for the Orange. And there will not be a return. And here comes a young man from Tampa, Florida, who played at Plant High School. And Larisha, you spoke of Rex Culpepper at the top. Roddy, this is just a guy who's taken the reins here after an injury to Tommy DeVito. And last week, did all he could against Liberty.
He actually didn't play poorly last week. You look at the stat line, and it's not all that impressive, but it didn't get a lot of help from the group around him. Dino Babers talked about the other guys, the supporting cast, has to help him out. And they're certainly going to have to help him out here today, because this Clemson defense is something else.
Culpepper, by the way, filling in for DeVito, does not have his top receiver here, Taj Harris. Did not make the trip, and the first down give is to the freshman Sean Tucker, one of several young people on the field for Dino Babers, 59-year-old native of San Diego, California. Mike Jones, the stop for Clemson.
Clemson is going to show a myriad of different things on the defensive side of the football. You'll see a 4-down look with 4 defensive linemen. You'll see a 3-down look to get more speed on the field. And remember, Clemson is without 2 of their starters, Tyler Davis, number 13, and James Skalski, number 47, and not playing today for the Tigers.
And Syracuse, known for their pace offensively, has wound this play clock all the way down. And they're going to end up with a delay, or they get the timeout called. And a timeout is awarded to the Orange.
Timeout, Syracuse. First charge of the half. There's no foul for delay of game.
So we get a stop here in the Orange of Coach Babers, trying to get it set here offensively.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Each of Syracuse's road games, including today, Roddy, against ranked teams. They started the year in Chapel Hill against a North Carolina team that was 18th. Pittsburgh, of course, week after that, and they were 25th, and now back on the road again for the first time in a while against the #1 team in the country. It's a busy Saturday. There are 7 conference games on the slate, 2 others in the noon hour. And of course, the third meeting ever between State and Carolina, where both teams are in the top 25. Here is Tucker on 2nd down and runs right into the middle of the Tiger defense in pursuit. And Miles Murphy on the stop. Roddy, take me through what you see today on the card for the league.
Well, I'm excited to see this Virginia Tech team. As you saw, leads the nation in rushing. This is a game that a lot of people, though, have their eye on. Notre Dame versus Pitt. That's one of the ones that people are looking for upsets. And then you get UVA versus Miami. UVA so banged up, especially in the secondary and at quarterback. Miami, you would expect to come out and play well after their rebound last week against Pitt.
In the the Pitt Notre Dame game, you say looking for upsets. Is that me looking for an upset?
It's not me, I'll tell you that.
Here's Culpepper. 3rd down and 9, and overthrows the intended receiver, and that was Hendricks, the big 6'3" redshirt sophomore. In the package for offensive coordinator Sterling Gilbert. So 3 and out for the Orange on their opening possession.
Yeah, and there's some things to build off on that drive. I know they didn't gain many yards, but Clemson actually turned a couple of guys loose on that 3rd down play. You had one up the seam that Rex Culpepper could have hit, and the guy in the flat that he was throwing to was actually open, just needs a more accurate delivery.
Amari Rogers will wait on the punt here of Nolan Cooney, who's averaged better than 45 yards in every game but one this year. This will be to the far side and will roll out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Well, one of the biggest days of UFC is in Fight Island today. UFC 254. Khabib against Justin Gaethje. Starts about 2 o'clock on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. You can sign up now. Khabib is the lightweight champ, the most dominant fighter in UFC at 28-0, and he's only lost 1 round in his entire UFC career. It's a title unification bout against Gaethje, nicknamed the Highlight, and Khabib's toughest match yet. Lawrence gunning for Powell again, and that time he challenges the backside, and that's Melifonwu, who's got some pretty competitive guys he wants to match up with. Hey, Roddy, how about some UFC insight from Larisha Harris?
Yeah, you were talking about that fight with Khabib going up against Gaethje. Well, this is going to be a good one. Like you said, he is a highlight reel, Gaethje that is. And it's going to be good to see whether or not Khabib can retire going undefeated.
How about that? Fumble on the play by Etienne, and the Orange say they have it.
Exactly sure what happened.
Was that Rogers that fumbled it, or Rogers recovered it?
No, Rogers recovered it.
A fumble by Etienne.
Yeah, and this is the 2nd week in a row that Travis Etienne's put it on the carpet. Had a fumble that was recovered by Georgia Tech last week. This sets up a 3rd and long for Clemson.
Yep. So a missed throw to Powell, a cough up on 2nd down, and now 3rd and the full 10 for a team that's been right at 50% on 3rd down in the last 2 ball games. Lawrence, a pump, now moves in the pocket, tried to fit it in a window, and it is caught in traffic. And that's Braden Galloway, but it's ruled incomplete. So the junior tight end from nearby Anderson can't come up with it, and the Tigers are punt here on a 3 and out.
That's a nice stop by Syracuse on defense. They covered well down the field, and although there was great protection by Clemson, there was nowhere to go with the football. Syracuse is able to force the 3 and out, as you said.
Nykeem Johnson will wait, so a win for Tony White and the Orange defense there, Roddy.
Yeah, certainly.
Four minutes into this first period of play. Will Spires drives away a beautiful punt toward Nykeem Johnson. It will bounce into the end zone, and that will be a 64-yard punt for Spires. Timeout at Tiger Town, 7-0 Clemson. Well, Syracuse will have the ball at its 20 as we resume from Death Valley on this ACC Network triple header of football. And Dino Babers now season 5 in Central New York. He's got the Orange at 1-4, Roddy, and 1-3 in ACC play after the loss to Liberty last Saturday at the Dome. And You know, our visits with him have always been fun. They've been interesting, insightful. And yeah, he knows they're having to play young here. It's happened in a lot of different ways. The coordinator change and all the things that have kind of come into this, and then injuries set in before the year and once the year got started. And now you're seeing a lot of young guys all over the field for the Orange.
Yeah, and let's not forget, as you said, new coordinators that had to install their systems on Zoom, and the teams respond to that differently. It's been certainly a challenge.
Here is Culpepper in the Orange, second possession. Tried to go to the freshman Tucker out of the backfield. Sean Tucker's a guy you better get ready, because some of the opt-outs and some of the injuries, Jawar Jordan in particular, have given Sean Tucker an opportunity, and he's responded with a couple of 100-yard games.
He has. He's been one of the real bright spots for the Syracuse team. It looks like they've found the guy at running back, and plays like that are plays that Rex Culpepper, those are the layups that you got to hit. That's not going to turn into a 20-yard gain, but it takes you from a 2nd and 10 to a 2nd and 5 at least.
Right. Play fake and wants to throw it in the middle of the field and intercepted by Turner. Nolan Turner, another interception, and returns it to the Syracuse 11-yard line. He had one last week. That's his 3rd of the year. And Ed Hendricks might have saved the touchdown for the Orange.
This one was eerily similar to the one last week. Just sneaks inside underneath the post route and puts Syracuse in a position where they're having to defend their own goal line. It was very similar to Georgia Tech last week. Snuck underneath the route, made an interception, and put his offense in great position to score. When you look at Rex Culpepper, again, you go back to that first down play where you miss the layup to Sean Tucker. If you're 2nd and 5, that's not the play call. It's something different. It's more underneath. It's more conservative. But as it stands, they have to go downfield, and Clemson ends up with great field position. And
it starts at the Orange 13-yard line, and Etienne trying to get to the perimeter, and will be taken down by McKinley Williams. Big-time play by Williams. Ball got tipped by Jones. Was that Jones got a hand on it, Roddy?
Couldn't exactly tell who it was, but that was a really nice play. Nonetheless, if that ball doesn't get tipped, I still think it gets picked, to be honest with you.
After a loss of better than 5, here goes Etienne. Trying to squeeze on the near side and banged out of bounds. Just inside the 15.
I like that play call, Wes, of going back to Etienne. Even though it's 2nd and long, this is a guy that only had 11 touches last week, 11 carries for 44 yards. And sometimes running backs have to get into the flow of the game. Syracuse showed that they are going to try and stop the run, so I like going back to him. And as it stands, you decrease it to at least the 3rd and 10.
Right. Lawrence in the pistol here. On 3rd and the full 10. Flips it to Etienne, where he's very dangerous on the perimeter, and he'll crash inside the 9 to about the 8-yard line. Richards, the linebacker, made the play for the Orange. And now B.T. Potter will come on, and they will try and cover the rest of this with a field goal. Clemson, technically, their 28th red zone possession of the year, they've only kicked 2 field goals in the previous 27 possessions. And Potter's kick is good. 10-0 Tigers, so they take the Culpepper interception and turn it into a field goal. Clemson 10, Syracuse nothing when we continue from Death Valley. Well, a combination of Jones and Turner helped sort out Culpepper's throw a moment ago. And Nolan Turner, who's made a lot of headlines with his postseason picks, Roddy, now's got him in back-to-back ball games.
Yeah, he's turning into one of the best safeties in the conference. Experienced guy, incredibly versatile for Brent Venables on that defense.
Yeah, the other part about Nolan Turner's history is the emergence from the shadows, and that's kind of the conversation you have to have when you get Clemson. As Syracuse's 3rd possession will start from his 25. Because you have to have the preparation process understood when you cover the Tigers. And Nolan Turner played with the Tanner Muses and the guys like that were in the back end, right?
Yep.
And he emerged in postseason, made a play here or there, and now he's come up as a leading guy on this defense, and rightly so. He's a veteran guy. It's waited his turn.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why you saw him underneath on that one that he picked off from Rex Culpepper. And Culpepper's going to have to be sound in what he's seeing, because this Brent Venables defense is going to make you see things pre-snap that do not happen post-snap.
Sean Tucker on first down and nowhere. Just got hit head on. Xavier Thomas in the mix along with the freshman Brazee for the Tigers.
This defensive line, as we mentioned earlier, is without Tyler Davis, but I don't want to say it doesn't matter, because Tyler Davis is a really good football player. But you just replace him with Niles Pinckney, and when you start with KJ Henry and Miles Murphy, if they need a spell, you just roll in Xavier Thomas, a former 5-star recruit that was expected to be a great pass rusher. That group of 3 up front right now with Henry, Brazee, and Xavier Thomas, they would start for just about anybody in the country.
2nd and a dozen now. Quick throw on the perimeter. And going to work on the backside is Anthony Quealy, who had a touchdown catch a week ago for the Orange against Liberty. Knocked out of bounds by Sheridan Jones, who's drawing the start over there today for Darian Kendrick.
Did a nice job of breaking the tackle of Jalen Phillips, the sophomore safety who was in on that one. And again, like, that's a pitch and catch. Rex Culpepper does a nice job of the delivery, and you end up with a first down. Right. Against a team like Clemson, you don't consistently have to make the superhero plays, but you do consistently have to hit those type throws.
First down of the day for the Orange. Tucker back to work on the ground, and there's KJ Henry, by the way, pulling him to the deck after a gain of a couple. By the way, it's official now. I have aged, because I did games that KJ Henry's dad played in. Keith Henry was an All-America free safety at Catawba back in the late 80s. Now, we were both young when I did the games. I just want that noted.
No, that means you've got longevity, partner. Longevity. Not a lot of people in this business stick around that long.
2nd and 8. KJ Henry, one of these guys that's really kind of caught the eye of Brent Venables in the last couple of weeks as they've continued their prep on this season. There's pressure in the throw offline. It was Balin Spector who came on the blitz and almost got to Culpepper.
Forced the quick throw. Again, pre-snap, it just looks like a regular 3-down look. They turned Balin Spector loose off the edge, and Rex Culpepper not able to make an accurate throw, setting up this 3rd and long. Question is, what do you go with here? Taking Sean Tucker off the field as the Syracuse Orange, gone with 4 wide receivers and the tight end. Now that likely means, though, Wes, if Clemson brings more than 5, Rex Culpepper's got to throw hot to somebody.
The empty set, trying for the screen to Quealy on the tunnel, and they'll come up a yard shot. Now, Roddy, tackle made by Jake Venables, who's in there for Skowski today. And Culpepper tried to the sideline, but
the offense is still on the field. Rex Culpepper's the only guy on that offense that jogged off the field.
That's right.
And now Dino Babers is saying, no, we're going for it. So
comes Aaron Hackett, the tight end.
Looks like they're going to go with some sort of wildcat look. Rex Culpepper is down here to the bottom of your screen. And it's going to be Nykeem Johnson that takes the snap.
Yep, Nykeem Johnson with a defensive lineman darting, and Johnson not going to get there. In fact, didn't even get back to the line. Joseph Charleston. Another one of these young guys in the secondary. Sorts it out and makes the play.
I like the decision to go for it there, Wes. You're on the road against the #1 team in the country, around midfield, 4th and short. I like the decision to go for it. I don't like the play call. You put Nykeem Johnson in, and there's no doubt what it's going to be. He's the only guy that's going to touch the football, so Clemson can pin its ears back, get after the guy taking the snaps, and they're able to stop him on a 4th down.
Lynn J. Dixon has come in to replace ETN, at least in the backfield with Lawrence. Snap to Trevor. Dixon to work. Right up the middle. And and stopped at the 35. It'll be a gain of 8. Jihad Carter, who's gotten a lot of experience in that secondary, and one of the young guys, a true freshman from Richmond, Virginia, one of about 5 different true or redshirt freshmen who are drawing lots of playing time for Tony White's defense here. Second and short. Lawrence the throw, and Powell challenged by Greenwood. Amon Greenwood there again, redshirt freshman from Washington, D.C., nicknamed Smurf.
And Amon Greenwood, if he just trusts this, that's a pick 6. Instead of going to the receiver, just trust that you've made the right read, pick the ball off, and go to the house.
Yep.
But the young player, he's going to learn to trust his eyes, trust what he's seeing, and go play the ball. But as it stands, 3rd down for Clemson.
2 receivers, and you see 2 tights for Lawrence and the Tigers. Trevor on the move and caught. 1st down, and that's Frank Ladson. Red zone possession for the Tigers down at the Orange 15, Roddy.
What a fantastic, I love this play, Wes, because not only do you have the rollout, but watch underneath. You've got the option for a shovel pass to Lynn J. Dixon. Trevor Lawrence sees that Ladson's beat his defender downfield and makes an accurate throw. That's a really hard throw that Trevor Lawrence makes look routine.
ETN back in the ball game now for Clemson. There's a quick throw to Rogers on the perimeter. Amari tripped up as he got to the 10-yard line. Garrett Williams, the corner.
Holding. Offense number 79. 10-yard penalty. 1st out.
Jackson Carman, the left tackle. Call for the infraction. Ball game's a little sluggish, Roddy.
I was just going to say that. Like, there's a little bit of a lethargic feel to this game. Clemson hasn't been super sharp. I mean, certainly the opening drive was impressive, but you've had some holds. We've seen some negative plays, some penetration from Syracuse. You got to tip your cap to this defense because they've forced a couple of turns over of the ball for Clemson.
Here is ETN bouncing through tackles, keeps his feet. Travis scores. First explosive play of the day we've seen from Travis Etienne.
First explosive play of the last couple of weeks, and this is peak Travis Etienne. What you saw right there, explosion through the hole, the spin move that has kind of become his patented thing. Such great balance to come out of that and then accelerate for the touchdown. It's what makes this guy special. In a nutshell, if you want to know it in one play, that play was a great example.
Another sub-90-second drive by the Tigers. And ETN covers the final 25.
Just watch this on the inside. So he explodes through the hole. There's an arm tackle there, an arm tackle there. Spins off to make another guy miss, and then accelerates into the end zone. Travis Etienne only needs a sliver of space, and he is liable to take it to the house. This is a guy that is incredibly not only exciting to watch, but he's one of the most humble superstars you will find in the country. And honestly, I was one of those guys that was fired up when I heard he was going to come back this season, just because I got another year to watch a special player.
62nd rushing score for ETN, and he's 11th in FBS in career touchdown runs with 62 now. He's tied for 8th in FBS in just career touchdowns, Roddy. That's 69. I mean, and you say this, humble, quiet, puts his head down, gets the job done. And you don't know a lot about him, and that's kind of I think sometimes that's the way he wants it to be.
Absolutely.
Yep. Kick through the end zone. Don't forget, tomorrow is a Sunday, so that means you get the Sunday best here on ACC Network. We've got field hockey, women's soccer, and volleyball for you. We'll start with field hockey. Wake Forest and Duke at high noon. Then we'll switch to soccer, a big women's soccer match. Notre Dame, number 13, Louisville. And then to volleyball for the back half. Number 6, Louisville and Pittsburgh. And then Virginia Tech and Duke. All right here on ACC Network and streaming always on the ESPN app. Orange will start from their 25. Now trailing 17-0. Culpepper on first down, hands to Tucker, and the Tiger defense right there. Wiskowski out. Jake Venables, son of the Tigers defensive coordinator, in there to wrap up. There is a look at Jake. Cooper Lutz into the ball game too, and Tyler, younger brother of Jake, also playing on the defensive side for Dad.
Yeah, and Wes, Chris Elmore, the starting left guard, just left the game for Syracuse on the offensive line.
Ooh.
So a thin group gets even thinner. It looks like it's number 55, Josh Iloa, that's come in for him.
Yep, young man from Mallard Creek High School in Charlotte. Here's a throw and a catch, and that's Ed Hendricks, who's had a hard time getting on the football field at Syracuse, tackled by Andrew Booth out at about the 35-yard line. The idea of Hendricks is he redshirted and was injured 2 years ago, redshirted last year, Roddy. So these are only the first real reps for Ed Hendricks, who they were really excited about. Came to Syracuse as a highly thought of freshman out of Washington's Woodson High School. He's got size. He's 6'3" and 220.
Man, he beat a really talented corner there, and Andrew Booth Jr. Really talented corner that he beat on that route.
Here is Culpepper, and he will push it for about 4 to the 40-yard line. Balin Spector again on the tackle, the Tiger linebacker. You see Culpepper now working with Cooper Lutz, who's a guy who's just been scrapping seemingly ever since he got to campus for the Orange.
Yeah, this is, again, you know, we're going to talk a lot about the Syracuse injuries, but Cooper Lutz stepping in with Sean Tucker because Jawar Jordan's been banged up, Marquincy Pierre banged up, not to mention the 2 opt-outs that happened prior to the season at the running back position for Syracuse. So Lutz has done a really nice job, though, of taking advantage of his opportunity.
Yeah, the run game was dented when Jarvion Howard and Abdul Adams opted out, right?
Yep.
Back in the summertime. Here is Culpepper, smashed as he cut it loose. And was that Spector back there? It was. Balin Spector, along with Jones, collapsing on Rex Culpepper.
Dialing up the pressure on that one. A really nice blitz that forced Culpepper to get rid of it a little bit sooner than he thought. It was actually Jake Venables, too, that helped. He took away the blocker and forced Culpepper that way. This is a big third down for Syracuse. They've gone with a few different things. Last time it was a screen underneath. They typically have not had a ton of time on these third downs. Clemson has been content to go man-to-man on the outside. So do you have a man beater in your arsenal that you can get this third down on?
Ball at the 40. They've got to break the 46 to keep the drive alive. Culpepper giving ground. Landon Zanders got to him, forced the incomplete pass. So the sophomore safety came blasting through. Maskell was also tracking for Clemson defensively.
This is a blitz that our buddy Eric Wood said Rex Ryan calls, hey diddle diddle, 3 up the middle. You have the nose, you have the 2 linebackers coming in the A-gaps, and then you send the safety late. And Landon Zanders is able to get the pressure.
So we get a look at Nolan Cooney to punt it away to Amari Rogers, and you see Landon Zanders, who made the hit on Rex Culpepper. Cooney hangs this away from Rogers toward the far side, and it'll check out of bounds near the 20-yard line. Well, Travis Etienne starts the countdown today with the touchdown run on Ted Brown. Roddy, you're more impressed about how long the record has stood, right? Because of all the talent that's come through the ACC, but I'm telling you, 23 for the Wolfpack was special.
He absolutely was, and it's a testament to what Ted Brown has done that record has stood this long. But whenever Travis Etienne breaks this record, he will be a worthy person to pass the torch to. But as you said, I mean, think about the great running backs just in recent memory. Yep. You got A.J. Dillon, you got Dalvin Cook, James Conner, Gio Bernard, going back to Warwick Dunn a little bit earlier. None of those guys have stayed long enough to break that record. Travis Etienne did.
Lawrence on first down, out in the perimeter, and Brandon Spector, younger brother of Balin, with the catch. Melifonwu the coverage for the Orange. One final note about Ted Brown and the numbers. Travis Etienne is chasing an NCAA and ACC mark, by the way, that did not reflect postseason play.
Which, don't get me started on.
I know.
Do not
I
get me
know,
started
and I'm with you on that. But if you add the postseason numbers of Ted Brown, not that Etienne wouldn't get it. That's not the discussion here. But you would be talking about a guy that had over 5,000 career rushing yards for the Wolfpack in Ted Brown.
We know how many yards he rushed for in the bowl games.
Right.
We know where those games were played, who was keeping stats. We know those are valid stats. Why can't we just add him in?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't understand either.
We could do it. We'll talk about that on your show at some point.
Maybe that's something for you and Pac to discuss. Here's Dixon in the backfield with Lawrence here. Tigers with a first down at their 36. Trevor loading and overthrown and dropped. For a moment, it looked like that the Orange might come away with the pick. Greenwood had it dead to rights.
It's the second time Amon Greenwood's had a shot at an interception, and he had about 3 chances. Had one there, and then another one there. And that's one of those that he's going to think about that all weekend until you have to watch that on film. Whenever they watch film at Syracuse on Sunday or Monday, he's going to be anticipating that.
And he'll think about it next spring, too. Etienne back in the ball game. Lawrence tried to go the backside, and it got batted away. Couldn't quite tell if Kingsley Jonathan got a hand on it. Might have been Steve Linton at 6'5", too, on Trevor Lawrence.
It's one of those intricate screens that Clemson likes to run. Got some of the best screen game in the entire country. But just a nice job by Syracuse of batting that one down.
So now 3rd and the full for the Tigers here.
Looks like you're going to have one-on-one coverage to the bottom of your screen with Melifonwu and Ladson.
Lawrence across the middle and off the hands of Frank Ladson. Melifonwu's taking the challenge today, Roddy.
Melifonwu's got a chance to make himself some money today. He's 6'3", 213 pounds is what he's listed at. He's a big, long corner that's really one of the best in the ACC that doesn't get any of the attention that he deserves. And he has done a really nice job in this one against Frank Ladson. He's going to be on that boundary side most of the time, so he's going to have a lot of one-on-ones, and did a nice job on that one, breaking up the pass.
So final 41 seconds, and Spires to punt away. Nykeem Johnson waits for the Orange, and it's blocked. Syracuse gets the punt block and the recovery of it at the 20-yard line. The Orange fought through there. It's recovered by Kyle Strickland.
Watch, fighting right up through the block.
Drew Tausema.
Really nice job by Tausema. Fighting through a block, getting a hand on the punt. And what you got to tell your shield is when you've got two coming, you got to choose the inside guy or the outside guy. Pick the inside guy, go full out on him, let the outside guy go, and have the punter adjust so that that doesn't get blocked. But Dabo Swinney is certainly not going to be happy about the way this first quarter has transpired.
Yep. Plus field territory now for Culpepper and the Orange. Culpepper in traffic, throws, end zone, looking for Quealy, incomplete.
Rex Culpepper going for Quealy, who had a double move against Sheridan Jones. And actually had Jones by a little bit of a step. Would have taken a really good throw to beat him, but that throw being inside made it actually tougher on Jones to recover. Syracuse going for the jugular after that quick change and the good field position.
Yep.
And you saw Culpepper over on the sideline and Dino Babers talking to him. Would love to have been a fly on the wall listening to that. If I were Dino Babers, I'd just tell him, settle down, deliver the ball.
Quealy and Sherrod Johnson to the top of the screen, and a flag is thrown. KJ Henry says,
False start. Offense number 68. 10-yard, or excuse me, 5-yard penalty. Second down.
It's on Aaron Service, who's lined up at right tackle.
Just got him on the whole offensive line. It's one of those everybody but the center. penalties.
J.J. Henry was pointing at Aaron Hackett as if to say, hey, wait a second, 89 is the guy.
Yeah, again, you gotta pin that on one. That's a tough one for Aaron's service because, man, I was just doing what everybody was doing.
You know, here in this particular situation, they're going Henry, Brzee, and Thomas up front for the Tigers in like almost like a NASCAR package.
Syracuse is going to have to burn another timeout. It's a couple of times now where it's taken way too long.
Second charge timeout of the half. 30-second timeout, Syracuse.
The question is Syracuse trying to grind the play clock a little bit and change drastically kind of what the operating procedure is typically for Dino Babers?
Yeah, it looks like that's part of the game plan, that they're either trying to bleed the clock or put Clemson in a position where they're having to dictate their calls first. Maybe it's a little cat and mouse game.
Right.
Well, Brent Venables has done this for a long time. So if that's the game, then Brent Venables is just going to sit on it until the very end. I think it's more of what you said. It's more the, hey, let's shorten the game a little bit.
Sure.
Decrease the possessions, decrease the opportunities for Clemson to hit big plays and us to make mistakes with this young crew.
Right.
And hopefully take advantage of something like this where you've got good field position.
Also, Venables and the Tigers see the Orange burn their second timeout. It's a big day in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Of course, the #1 Tigers going at it here at noon. We've got a top 25 game with NC State, North Carolina. You see the way the season started, and now look at where we are in the national polls. Here is Tucker, and he will break the 20 down to about the 17-yard line. Tackle made by Andrew Booth, who has really come on nicely, along with Mike Jones.
You saw Sean Tucker there breaking a tackle in a little bit of a burst. He's a guy that's got a fantastic feel.
Yep.
Runs tough, especially for a freshman back, and when he gets in the open field, it's got some speed.
That'll be the final play of the first. 15 minutes in the books here at Death Valley. Trevor Lawrence to Cornell Powell got us started here today. And a moment ago, Travis Etienne adds a 25-yard touchdown run. 17-0 for #1 Clemson. Well, we welcome you back here, and during the quarter break, this is ACC Unity Week. This is the start of the week as observed by the conference to address some of the racial justice and social issues in our country, and both schools participating. And now we got a flag as procedure is going to be the call on the orange.
Offense number 68.
Aaron Service.
5-yard penalty. Third down.
Lined up against Xavier Thomas over there. But you'll see that around the conference footprint all week long in all sports.
It's an awesome initiative by the ACC, and one that the ACC has really taken a nice leadership role in.
Yep, agree. Tucker in the backfield, Culpepper to throw, and inside there's Quealy, and it'll be 1st and goal for the Orange. Throw and catch on Andrew Booth, and Anthony Quealy with another important grab for the Orange.
Second time Quealy's been able to beat Andrew Booth. And a second big catch. Just a nice delivery by Rex Culpepper. He gets great protection up front. It's just a slant to the field. And Syracuse inside the 10s, cooking with a little bit of grease here.
Well, and Anthony Quealy's been on a run. He had 7 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown in his last 2 ball games for Dino Babers. And now a 17-0 game. Talk about an important possession early in the second half for a Syracuse team just looking to see if they can get something going here. Tucker trying to find a spot, slips inside and scores for the Orange. 3rd touchdown run of the year for the freshman, Sean Tucker. So the block punt pays dividends for the Orange.
Certainly does, and they give the ball to the guy who's become the best player on the field for the Orange. And watch this moves that he makes. It's an outside zone, slips inside of Nolan Turner and gets into the end zone. Nice blocking up front. And it pays dividends for the Orange.
4 plays, 20 yards after the block punt. 79 seconds off this second quarter clock. And the point is good by Smith. 17-7 the score. Tucker gets the Orange on the board at Death Valley. We are early in quarter 2 as we welcome you back to Frank Howard Field, Clemson's Memorial Stadium, with Roddy Jones, Larisha Harris, West Durham. Game 1 of our ACC Network tripleheader. Off to Boston for game 2. Mark Herzlich, Chris Cotter, and Kelsey Riggs wait on the Jackets and Eagles at Alumni Stadium. Georgia Tech and BC meeting on campus in the Heights for the first time in 12 years. And Lynn-J Dixon waits on the kick by the Orange, and there will not be a return. So Larisha, Clemson's going to get started from its 25 with a 10-point lead.
Special guy that plays for Syracuse. His name is Josh Black, and he told me when talking to him this week, he's a self-proclaimed gymnast, and that actually paid off for him because he caught the eye of movie star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson after he posted a video of himself hitting a running backflip off the wall. I can't do it. I don't know about you guys, but I know Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson retweeted him and definitely say, hey, you're on our radar. Keep doing what you're doing. It also benefits that he can squat 700 pounds in the weight room.
Ooh. Here's Lawrence. Little counter, and Etienne trying to find the crease. McKinley Williams wraps him up at the 28-yard line. There's a look at Josh Black. 285 pounds on a 6'3" frame.
Getting a little bit of a breather there. And in that tweet that The Rock retweeted, said, hey, I want to be your stunt double one day. When you can do backflips like that, I would assume that is one of the things that you got to do as a stunt double. I certainly wouldn't know anything about that.
No. Nor the squatting of the 700 pounds. Ball is caught, and this is the freshman E.J. Williams out to midfield. And Dabo Swinney could not say enough about the young man from Phoenix City, Alabama, Rodney.
Well, he said it a number of times, describes him as a faster Justin Ross, which is scary for the rest of the league if that comes true.
1st and 10, and Etienne back to work, trying to find a seam here at the corner. And he gets pulled down. The Orange, Cody Roscoe, who transferred from McNeese State into the program. Able to get number 9 on the turf.
Let's see if that last sequence wakes Clemson up a little bit on the offensive side of the football. After that first drive, Trevor Lawrence hasn't been very sharp. This Clemson offense has been a little sluggish. You get the blocked punt and then the score. Let's see what they go with.
There's Etienne again from the shotgun set with Lawrence. And they pick up a couple toward the 43. Mikel Jones, who's got 75 career tackles in 18 games, and we got an injured Tiger. Etienne slow to his feet. He'll trot off here.
Injury timeout.
That'll bring Lynn-J Dixon back into the fold.
Got bent up a little bit, maybe rolled up. They've got a couple of guys coming out. Matt Bockhorst, number 65, also coming off the field for Clemson.
Yep.
So a couple of Tigers a little shaken up after that one.
Yep. Well, one of the things that in talking with the coaches, you see they check out the hand of Bockhorst. One of the things in a game like last Saturday, and maybe to a degree Virginia-Miami, when you got teams that have the kind of power and the depth that Clemson has, one man's tough breaks another man's opportunity. Lawrence trying to make the throwaway and does. And Syracuse caught Clemson a couple times. Tony White's done a good job measuring the pressures here today. Jones was the guy that got to Lawrence there, Roddy.
I really like the game that Tony White has called for this Syracuse defense. I think that he has been fearless. Right. I mean, that was a 3rd down where Clemson goes empty, 5 wide receivers, and Syracuse says, all right, we'll bring 6. Have fun blocking them, and you got to find somebody early. Mikel Jones up the middle is the first one that gets the pressure on Trevor Lawrence, and there was nobody open.
Akeem Johnson will stand at the 7. Spires going to fake this. They got to get a block on the edge. They do. Will Spires has got the first down on the fake punt. Tigers did an excellent job pinning the corner. Strickland made the tackle for the Orange, but this is well done in space.
Yeah, watch that block by number 84, Davis Allen, the backup tight end. He's got the key block there. Without it, Spires isn't able to get the first down. And look, let's talk about Will Spires for a second. Dude can do it all. I mean, you saw him running there. He completed a couple passes last week. Will Spires showing off the wheels.
Lynn J. Dixon in to replace Travis Etienne. He'll get the call. And pushes through for about 3. McKinley Williams another stop. Lynn J. Dixon out of Butler, Georgia. As you see Etienne being tended to on the Tiger bench. Came here knowing that Travis Etienne was here. And Dixon showed up as the number 10 running back in the country, according to our recruiting folks at ESPN. Here's Lawrence, shoots it low. Galloway the catch. Did he step out of bounds beyond the stick? He did at the 26-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Tough catch by Braden Galloway, and Lawrence threw him a bullet.
And Trevor Lawrence was waiting for that over route to come open, waited as long as he could, and then he flips his eyes down to Galloway, and it's a nice, that's an awkward catch. The ball's coming a little bit harder because it had to before he got to the sideline. Goes down and makes the grab.
So now Lawrence to the gun here on 1st and 10. That's Galloway in motion with the 3 receivers. That's Rogers, and he'll get the carry. They're going to throw back, and here's Lawrence the catch. Trevor took a big lick right at the 20, falls forward to the 18-yard line. The linebacker Canton Arku and Jihad Carter are there. Oh.
It was a really nice play design, and Trevor Lawrence was open. Amari Rogers got to lead him here. You can't bring your quarterback back towards the trash in the middle of the field. Syracuse made him pay for it, but Amari Rogers, just trust your quarterback. Lay it out towards the sideline. Trevor Lawrence is an athlete. Make that catch.
And we got movement on Clemson. And Lawrence has gone right away to the official here about the
snap infraction on the offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
They're yelling. And I think Trevor's upset. There may be some cadence shenanigans going on here at the line.
Yeah, there's some simulation going there as you see the hit on Trevor Lawrence there at the end, but you could hear Trevor Lawrence on the microphone saying they're yelling. There's some snap simulation going on the other side.
Right.
Frustrated the quarterback.
Here's Lawrence, long toss to Dixon in space, and Lynn J. Dixon to the 20. And now 3rd and 4 facing the Tigers at the Syracuse 20.
Looks like they're going to go empty backfield again. Now you got Dixon hanging out there with Trevor Lawrence. He's wide to the left. Syracuse in these situations has brought pressure. Let's see if they decide to do it here.
Lawrence from the pocket, shoots it in traffic and incomplete. Looking for Allen, the tight end. Carter was there in coverage for the Orange. And so Clemson turned away at the 20 in a 10-point lead with just ahead of 9 minutes to go here.
You have to commend the Syracuse defense. They stopped Clemson, give up the fake punt, and then are able to come back and stop the Tigers again. Tony White's group has played hard, and it's made it tough on the Tigers so far.
37-yard drive. And the kick by Potter is no good. Pushed it to the right. So a missed field goal of 37 yards. And it's a 10-point game. Just ahead of 9 to go. 2nd quarter at Clemson.
Yeah, I'm faithful. Scratch that, baby, I'm faithful. Gotta see it.
Well, don't forget, coming up at 2 o'clock today on ESPN Plus, your chance to see the premier UFC fight of the year. Khabib against Justin Gaethje. Live from Fight Island. UFC 254 is available to you on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Sign up now. And there's some consideration that a win by Khabib may set up another match with Conor McGregor. Larisha, is that a possibility?
It is a possibility, and if that happens, Conor McGregor is going to have to watch out, because we did see Khabib defeat Conor McGregor once before.
After the missed field goal, here is Sean Tucker's best run of the day for 21 yards. Tackle made by Andrew Booth, and the Orange got a little gas in the tank off the missed field goal by Potter.
Wes, this is a young football team. We've talked about it a number of times. They're going to just run zone, and you see the vision of Sean Tucker back up the middle. But with this young team, the more they hang around with the #1 team in the country, the more they're going to start to believe that they belong on this stage. Clemson has not been able to land the knockout blow early, and you see Syracuse starting to play with a little bit more confidence here.
Yep. So here is Culpepper with the freshman Tucker in the pistol. And Tucker again trying to find some room, and he'll roll out for about 7 yards. Tackle made by Niles Pinckney.
And we've talked about a couple of times, the offensive line for Syracuse has been banged up, and in the pass game, they've had some struggles, but in the run game over the last few opportunities to come out, they have been a lot better, and Sean Tucker has been the beneficiary of that, especially running zone plays, that outside zone that they've run the past 2 plays. Sean Tucker's really good at running it, and this offensive line's become really good at blocking.
You see Tucker averaging almost 75 yards a ball game, 8th in the ACC. He's out. Cooper Lutz is in. Looks like Sean Tucker got banged up a little bit. Here's Culpepper, and that ball is dropped. Aaron Hackett, the tight end who had a touchdown last week, couldn't hang on in space. And those are the layups, Roddy, you were talking about at the top. Those are the easy throws for both the passer and the receiver. You just got to make those.
And you complete that pass, it keeps you out of a 3rd and 4.
Right.
Now Clemson gets into their exotic packages, and it makes it tough on the protection. It makes it tough on the quarterback.
You see Hackett and Benson, both tight ends, go out of the set here for the offensive coordinator, Sterling Gilbert.
Anthony Creeley's had some success in these scenarios.
Sure has. Quick throw and offline. He was looking for Hendricks, who had made the move inside on Sheridan Jones from the boundary, but thrown well behind, and the Orange will have to punt.
I don't know, Wes. I mean, this is kind of one of those scenarios. Dino Babers is going to punt, but again, you're on the road against the #1 team in the country. Clemson's already faked one. It looks like they're leaving the safe punt team out there, leaving the defense out there to guard against a Syracuse fake. But this signals that Dino Babers has confidence in his team and his defense.
Yep. And he's caught Clemson without the fastball offensively, Roddy. Sans what, the first possession?
Yep.
Wobbly punt from Cooney. Rogers, fair catch, right around the 12.5. Halfway through quarter 2. #1 Clemson leads by 10.
Remember that National Vote Early Day is October 24th. For more information, visit IamAvoter.com.
Well, Tigers will take over here from their 13-yard line, and Travis Etienne has come back in the ball game after we got a possession of Lynn J. Dixon when Etienne was shaken up. And Lawrence to throw. Long shot and drop by Powell, who had the touchdown to start the day. Cornell Powell shaken up in front of the Clemson bench. He land on that left shoulder, Roddy?
I couldn't see
Injury
exactly how
timeout.
he landed, but he was fully laid out, and that's certainly a vulnerable position.
And we'll step aside at Clemson. Just beyond the halfway point of quarter 2, Cornell Powell being tended to when we continue from Tiger Town. You see Cornell Powell, Roddy, moving around, putting the helmet back on. Sometimes plays like this can be a little scary.
Yeah, it certainly was. He's fully extended, gets his hands on the ball, but then comes down hard on that left shoulder, and he looks like he's okay, which is a good sign for Clemson.
All right, so out of the timeout, Lawrence and the Tigers go back to work on the possession, only with the 10-point lead here in this first half of play. Tigers have had a hard time keeping any kind of rhythm offensively, it looks like, Roddy.
Yeah, they certainly have. Trevor Lawrence hasn't had his sharpest quarter or quarter and a half so far either.
Here's Lawrence. Pushes the pocket, and Rogers Made a man miss at the 20 and a first down. Slippery Amari Rogers. Mikel Jones, the tackle for the Orange.
I really like the play call from Clemson. They decide to roll Lawrence out. You get a man beater against man-to-man coverage on the outside, and you get the ball in the hands of one of your premier playmakers in Amari Rogers.
So Clemson on the move ahead of 7 minutes to go. And Etienne trying to slip through. Got to the second level, brought down at the 35. It'll be a gain of 8, 2nd and 2. And Josh Black, the tackle.
There is an audible gasp in the stadium every time Travis Etienne has the ball, and there is a sliver of space. Josh Black wrangled him down, but there was a little alley there, and this crowd anticipated Etienne being able to break that tackle and take it to the house.
Travis comes out right after the carry, Roddy, and quickly doing some talking with the athletic training folks. And there's a quick throw to the perimeter and another catch for E.J. Williams. Melifonwu the stop.
This last play gets hit kind of there on the hip. It's been a physical game there for Travis Etienne. He's kind of working it out, talking to him a little bit.
Yep.
That's what happens when you're a running back. Sometimes you take those awkward hits. He's had a couple of them here today.
3rd and short for the Tigers. Lawrence with a long look to the bench here to make sure everyone's dialed in here. And Lynn Dixon will power to the 40 and a first down for Clemson. Carter the stop for the Orange. This Clemson team comes in 1st in total offense, 8th nationally, 6th running the ball at 182.6 yards a game, which is 31st in the country. A lot of that right there behind number 9, but Lynn Dixon's done his lion's share as well here in this first half. Lawrence to throw on first down. Trevor going to load it up for Amari Rogers deep, and it's caught and then dropped. Couldn't hold it all the way through against the coverage of Garrett Williams.
What an incredible effort, though, by Amari Rogers. Almost brought this one in and had full control of it until Williams, Garrett Williams actually makes the great play. Rogers controls it through the hit to the ground, rolls over wisely to protect the ball, and Garrett Williams takes that opportunity and knocks it out. How about that play from the redshirt freshman?
Yep, young man from Harrisburg, North Carolina, just north of Charlotte with the pass break up, and here's a slant, and Cornell Powell, a big catch to the 40-yard line. It was ruled down in Syracuse territory against Garrett Williams.
And it's almost unfair for Garrett Williams. He just runs 60 yards, make a great play against Amari Rogers. Clemson just rolls out a fresh Cornell Powell and says, all right, now cover a dig on the inside. It's a nice delivery by Trevor Lawrence and a nice catch by Cornell Powell.
Ladson's come back in the ball game. And here is Dixon. Lawrence tried to help him with a block on the edge against Melifonwu, who was not at all deterred by the quarterback. And then Linton also made the stop for the Orange.
You mentioned the fact that Trevor Lawrence was out front on that one. That was something that Dino Babers actually brought to us this week when we talked to him about Trevor Lawrence. He says, look, this guy's not a guy that just hands it off and then is a passive participant. He's actively out there trying to throw blocks. It shows his leadership.
Sure does. 2nd and 9. Etienne's come back in the ball game. Here's that screen again, Roddy. And Joseph Ngata almost got the first down. Carter, the big-time stop for the Orange, shy of the 30.
Injury timeout.
And the Orange have an injured player. And hard to get any clarity on the number here. So with just ahead of 4 minutes to go and play stop for a 3rd and short. At the 31-yard line. Chance to remind you, you're watching Game 1 of our ACC Network triple header today in football. We will send you right after this to Alumni Stadium for Georgia Tech and Boston College. First meeting in the Heights in 12 years. Jackets' first visit since '08 when they won 19-13, by the way. The 2016 meeting was at Dublin, Ireland. In the 08 game, it is of note, Larisha, Roddy Jones, 3 carries, 7 yards in a 6-point victory for the Jackets. And, of course, Miami and Virginia late night from the Hard Rock in South Florida. Your thoughts on your day, Mr. Jones? 3 carries, 7 yards, and a win for the Jackets.
I thought you were going to let Larisha roast me before I got a response to it, but I blocked well that game. Let's just say that. Dwyer had a big game. Come on, Larisha, tell him it's a team. It's a team thing.
I just wanted to give you time to go ahead and make your claim about this game before I came in and said a little something slick.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Here's the 3rd and short. And Etienne sliding through, first down. Clemson as they roll it to the orange 21-yard line. To Roddy's point, as Lee Koba made the tackle, Jonathan Dwyer did have the game-winning score and 108 yards that day for the Jackets.
Welcome,
Mark Herslick had 11 tackles as well.
Of them on me.
A lot of them on you, is that right?
Quite a few.
Maybe he and Cotter will talk about that this afternoon. Here's Etienne falling into the stack on first down. We're under 3.5 to go. Mikel Jones, another tackle. He's been around the football a lot. We thought we'd also see a lot more Marlowe Wax, but with Jones holding steady, Roddy, lean on the veteran. And I say veteran, the sophomore Jones, as opposed to the freshman Wax.
Yeah, and he's played well. This defense has really played well and made it tough on Clemson. They have not allowed the big plays that Clemson had a ton last week.
Here's Lawrence. Fake the screen, throw to the end zone. Allen and the Clemson touchdown. Second touchdown pass of the day for Cartersville, Georgia's Trevor Lawrence.
Well, they've gone to this little tunnel screen a number of times. This time they fake it, and Davis Allen right up the seam is able to just stroll into the end zone. As you see, Rob Hanna was a little frustrated at his eye discipline there, looking in the backfield. He got the score.
12 plays, 87 yards, 437. And Trevor Lawrence's second touchdown pass, part of a 13 of 24 first half for 166. Roddy, I want to go back to something you talked about in our conversation with Dino Babers. And we talked to Dino Babers about Trevor Lawrence because of Dino Babers' history at Baylor with Robert Griffin III, Eastern Illinois with Jimmy Garoppolo, even his development of guys at Bowling Green and also with Eric Dungy at Syracuse. He knows good quarterback play when he sees it, and he's got great respect for what Lawrence can do.
Yeah, he certainly does. And Trevor Lawrence, what he has done on the field from a leadership perspective is one of the first things that Dino Babers said to us about him. So that is evident when you watch the film, and you get a shot of Coach Babers there trying to figure out, hey, our defense has done well so far in this game, I think, all things considered. How do we get something going on the offensive side of the football to continue to put pressure on this Clemson team?
Yep. So Potter will kick it away. Pierre and Nakeem Johnson deep for the orange. And the kick through the end zone. So Syracuse will scrimmage from its 25. Don't forget, 2 o'clock ESPN Plus and pay-per-view, UFC 254 from Fight Island. Habib and Gaethje starts at 2 o'clock Eastern. Sign up now to see the premier UFC bout of 2020.
Larisha's going to have that thing pulled up on the sideline watching it during the game.
She is, absolutely.
No doubt.
She's already signed up. Sean Tucker has returned with Rex Culpepper. And he'll keep it on the ground with Tucker, who fights into the secondary. Finally, the tackle made by Charleston out at the 37-yard line. I like Sean Tucker, Roddy, and what he brings to their offense.
I think Sean Tucker is going to be a star in this football league. The burst that he has, the vision that he has on those zone plays, and his ability to break tackles. He's got all the things you want out of a running back, and he's only a true freshman. He's going to continue to grow for this Syracuse team.
Here's the other thing about Tucker. He's the Maryland indoor 55 meters champion out of Calvert Hall. He ran a 6.46 to win the 55-meter title. He ran a 6.18.
Offense number 56.
As a senior at Calvert Hall.
First down.
Wasn't for the Maryland State title indoors, but he still got like a 6'1", 6'2" in his life.
It's pretty good. And Maryland's not a slow state. There's some states where you're like, okay, that's a slow state. Maryland, not one of those. They got some fast dudes.
Maryland, not a slow state.
Maryland,
Can you tell me where we might find a slow state?
I'm not gonna throw those states out there. Those states know who they are.
Slow states? There are slow states?
Oh yeah.
Maryland not one though, and here's Tucker again on cue. Gets to the 39. And we got a Clemson timeout as Nolan Turner makes the tackle. And
30-second charge timeout to Clemson. That is their first of the half.
Remember, Tucker had come out earlier, Roddy, kind of favoring an arm to the Syracuse bench area, and now face down after the stop here. So they're out to 10 to Tucker.
Saw him lifting up that right foot a little bit on there at the bottom of the screen. His ankle gets rolled up on. Watch that right ankle. Oh, Jake Venables just falls on it. Hope it's one of those that you're just a little scared of when it happens and he's able to shake it off.
Yeah.
It's one of the toughest injuries to fight through as a running back, though, because the sharp cuts, the explosiveness that you have to have at the position.
So while they tend to Tucker, because of the injuries and the other things facing the Syracuse run game, it really has been kind of Sean Tucker and Cooper Lutz here now the last couple of weeks for Dino Babers. Jarwar Jordan, a young man from Farmingdale, New York, has missed the last 2 ball games, and they hope to get him back, but we weren't sure whether or not we would even see him today. So while they tend to the freshman, quick reminder about Sunday Best on ACC Network. We should give you field hockey at noon. A little Tobacco Road flavor with Wake Forest and Duke, and then shift to women's soccer up to Louisville for the number 13 Cards in Notre Dame, and then volleyball caps off the back half of Sunday Best. Look at all the ACC volleyball in the nation's top 14. Louisville and Pittsburgh at 3:30, followed by Virginia Tech at Duke at 5:30. Just all over the card in terms of great volleyball in the ACC, and we got it for you tomorrow on ACC Network as part of Sunday Best and streaming live on the ESPN app.
Great to see Sean Tucker walking off under his own power with very minimal limb.
Dabo Swinney's got 2 timeouts here and 1:58 to go, Roddy.
Yeah, I would expect him, especially if they get a stop here on. First off, I expect Syracuse to run the ball here.
Yep.
And if they do, and you're able to get a stop, I expect to see another timeout.
Culpepper going to throw. Puts it up. Quealy the catch near midfield. And Anthony Quealy shoved into the Tiger bench area by Fred Davis, the freshman from Jacksonville, Florida.
It's a nice job by Syracuse. Opting to put the ball in the air. An incomplete pass favors Clemson, but they say no. We're going to go with the curl to the boundary. Get a good delivery from Rex Culpepper, and Anthony Quealy seemed to step up in that role without Taj Harris here today.
Yep, Taj Harris did not make the trip. Dino Babers asked earlier in the week about an incident that occurred last Saturday late in the ball game at the Dome. Said that the discipline was handled internally, and that was where he was going to leave it.
And as you said, it was against Fred Davis. Notable for Clemson, we have not seen Darion Kendrick play yet at corner for him.
Yep. Here is Culpepper, tried to fire it through traffic again to Quealy. And Balin Spector lingering. Don't forget tonight in primetime, presented by Geico, Virginia and Miami. Did we get a final word on Brennan Armstrong, by the way?
We did not, but I don't like that decision by Syracuse to go back to the pass, because you get an incomplete pass and we're right back in the situation that we were a second ago.
Right.
You got second down. Dabo Swinney has 2 timeouts, and if Syracuse doesn't or has incompletions and doesn't draw those timeouts left, you're going to give Clemson the ball back with a lot of time left. I know Dino Babers is thinking we're going to go score, but you also have to protect your defense some too.
Second down, and Culpepper going to keep it. And he'll get to the 45, and Dabo Swinney will bang the timeout on the Brazil tackle. First time we've seen Rex Culpepper lower the shoulder and drive.
Timeout.
So Clemson. Third down coming up.
30-second charge.
It is of note, by the way,
Second
about Culpepper. Larisha chronicled his fight against testicular cancer at the top of the show today. Culpepper's dad was an All-American defensive tackle and NFL player for a while, Brad Culpepper. His mom and dad were on Survivor. His mom went back on. Roddy was like, oh, that's his mom?
Yep.
Monica, right?
She was a fierce competitor
Right.
on there. One of the, if you're a Survivor fanatic, and I would not describe myself as a fanatic, but
Right.
an often watcher.
Sure.
Monica Culpepper was one of those that you looked at and you were like, man, I hope nobody crosses her because
Yeah.
she's going to come after him.
And by the way, Larisha, Roddy, Culpepper picked up a new neighbor this summer.
And who was that?
Tom Brady moved in the neighborhood of the Culpeppers. Now, some would say, well, Tom Brady's renting Derek Jeter's house. So, yes, that means that Derek Jeter's house is near the Culpeppers on Davis Islands. Which begs the question, Rex. Did you guys throw a ball in the streets? Here's the throw on third down and a long throw and catch, and that's Nykeem Johnson. And broken up by Nolan Turner.
And now you set up a 4th and 7. You're going to punt the ball back to this Clemson team, a minute 37 and 1 timeout. And this is a situation that every team practices, but now Clemson's going to get a live rep at it. So you can be assured that Dabo Swinney, Tony Elliott, and that Clemson offense is going to go full throttle to get some situational work in.
Yep. 97 seconds to go. Cooney will punt. Rogers will stand at the 10. Flip that over, and Amari will signal for the fair catch right around the 12-yard line. 24-7, Clemson in front with 90 seconds to go and 1 timeout left for the Tigers. Don't forget Jordan Cornette, Eric McLean, Mark Richt coming up at the break. They'll check the highlights of State Carolina and Chapel Hill. Louisville, a really hot start against Florida State today at Cardinal Stadium. And of course, by the Tiger standards, this has not been what they expected in the first half. All that coming up on the halftime report from our ACC Network studios. Travis Etienne will join Trevor Lawrence. 8th possession for the Tigers. Starts off their 12 here. Trevor's thrown 2 touchdown passes in this first half. Middle of the field, off the hands of Rogers, and intercepted by Garrett Williams. His first career interception, and Williams will house it for the Orange. And with 1:18 to go in the first half, the Orange defense that's played well in this first half, Roddy, gets a payoff play.
This is really the 3rd opportunity that I would say they had a chance to pick one off. Amari Rogers just wide open up the seam. Trevor Lawrence just delivers it behind him. The athleticism of Rogers allows him to get to the ball, but Williams, Johnny on the spot, always cut back if you get an interception, and he's able to house it, take it to the house.
Yep. And now the point after by Schmidt is good. And all of a sudden it's back to a 10-point game with 1:18 to play.
You see Amari Rogers throwing up that hand, and that ball, if it's on the hash, and it's a big gain, but because he's got to flip his hips, the tip doesn't help the Tigers, and Syracuse defense rallying to throw some blocks. Garrett Williams able to get it in the end zone, but remember, Amon Greenwood's had a couple of opportunities to pick the ball off too, and they just weren't able to make the plays. You had the one where he decides to go for the player and not the ball. That could have been a pick 6. And then the other one down the field where he, honestly, it looked like the ball was a bar of soap. He couldn't quite bring it in, had 3 chances. So Trevor Lawrence has put the ball in danger in this first half. It has not been his sharpest half so far, and it's made it a much closer score at this point in the game than I think a lot of people expected.
Absolutely. Well, the one thing is, in scenarios like we're seeing today, this is where you have a game that's expected to be a one-sided walk. And the longer it lingers, Rod, whether of your own volition or not, and Syracuse probably knew that coming in here today, they'd have to get a couple thrown their way, so to speak.
Yep.
Well, they just got one.
They've gotten the help from the Tigers, and the question is, what does Clemson do when they come back out? I expect them to do the exact same thing that they were going to, push the ball downfield and try and put it in the end zone before half.
Yep. And the Tigers will scrimmage off their 25-yard line. And if you're Lawrence, you're looking at a 13-25 half, 2 touchdowns, and now the pick 6 by the redshirt freshman Garrett Williams. And we talk about the youth of Syracuse, especially on defense, where you get guys like Williams and Hanna, Carter, Linton we've talked about. And there's Amari Rogers ready to go to work with Trevor Lawrence. 2-by-2 with Etienne in the backfield. And a quick throw. This is Galloway, and he'll get out of bounds. Shy of the first down. Williams shoved him out of bounds on Braden Galloway's catch.
Go back to the easy pitch and catch, one where you're able to get out of bounds, and Syracuse is not going to want to give up the big play, so that's going to be there on this drive if Clemson wants it.
Still a timeout left for the Tigers. Another throw, and Galloway will step out of bounds before he cut it back at the 38, and Braden Galloway a little shaken up.
Well, to be honest with you, despite his best efforts, that was a good play by Braden Galloway getting out of bounds. Tried to cut back there. No reason for that. Get out of bounds, save the time.
Yep. Just a few ticks off this clock as we wind down the end of the first half, and there's Rogers. And he'll get to the 46-yard line. We go under a minute to play. Greenwood on the tackle there. Roddy's talked about Williams and Greenwood especially in this first half being very active for the Orange. And now Syracuse takes a timeout with 50 seconds left.
Syracuse, 30-second charge timeout. That is their third and final timeout of this half.
Dino Babers to within 10 again after the pick six by Williams. And all of a sudden, he knows he also gets the second half kickoff.
Yeah, if you can get a stop here, he's got to be feeling pretty good about where they are. And you know, in a year where it's incredibly weird with the environments,
right?
You've got a bunch of people here, more people than Syracuse has played in front of so far this season, and they have not been involved in the game at all. I mean, this crowd has largely been dead, even when Clemson has scored, because it's kind of expected.
Right.
So it's certainly they've taken the crowd out of the game. You've kind of got the #1 team wobbling a little bit. It just has not been a great start. So Dino Babers with a stop here is going to feel really good about getting that second half kick, as you said.
So Syracuse uses its last timeout. And Lawrence to work. Etienne in the flat. He'll step out of bounds. And not quite enough for the first down, so third and short. But nonetheless, 44 seconds left on the clock. Tigers still have the one to go from a timeout perspective.
This will be interesting because third and short, if Syracuse opts to play aggressive to really try and stop this third and short, this is a good time to take a shot if you're Clemson. But the way the shell looks right now, looks like they're going to be content to give up the underneath.
And they're dropping guys, and Lawrence is just going to keep it. He'll fight across midfield and drives to about the 43-yard line of the Orange. And there's the last. Nope. Clemson did not take the timeout. Tigers are going to get on the ball with 35 seconds left. They're going to try and run a play here. Thought they might spike it. Instead, they're going to throw. Lawrence, this is Rogers, and he will run out of bounds right around the Syracuse 40 ahead of Garrett Williams. Stops the clock with 25 seconds left. Remember, Clemson still has the timeout. And whistle from the far side.
My timeout.
Riley Johnson asking for the timeout. It looks like they were trying to get a defender off the field for the Orange here, who maybe have been shaken up. Spector and Ladson to the top of the screen. Here's Lawrence keeping it. Did not hand it to Dixon, and Trevor will get to the 35. And was that Dino Babers that he almost ran into? Roddy on the bench?
It looked like it. I really like that play, though. I mean, that sprint draw is a play that Clemson runs all the time. They fake it this time, and Trevor Lawrence keeps it.
Here's Dino.
Dino said, whoa, let me get out of the way. I like the way Dino played it off though. Had a little stumble and then hit the form run up the sideline, showing us he still got it.
Don't question that. You know that, right? Never a doubt, was there?
Never a doubt.
No.
Big third down here because Clemson not yet in field goal range as it stands.
Still a timeout. Lawrence going to keep it. And he will slide down at the 31. And there's the Tiger timeout with 14 seconds left.
Timeout, Clemson.
QB run here, Roddy,
of the half,
on a couple of plays.
Timeout.
And Lawrence has become the open guy against what Syracuse does.
Lawrence, dual threat quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. He showed that last year in the semifinal game against Ohio State. The thing that I liked on that the most, though, Wes, is he slid. There's often times where Trevor Lawrence likes to lower that shoulder. It's hard to get that 6'6" body down, but I like the slide protecting his body. Now the question is, what do you go with? 14 seconds, you're not going to kick a field goal right here. It's first down.
Right.
So you either have to get out of bounds, incomplete pass, or shot down the field. You can't have something in front of the sticks. That's the absolute no-no. Nothing in front of the sticks, and no sacks.
All right, but you mentioned the shell here, and Tony White's been pretty good lining this up. I mean, enough to maybe give them pause in the throw game.
Well, maybe you run off the outside and you run a deep out to try and make this a more manageable field goal, but you want something that's either going to get out of bounds, be incomplete, or a touchdown.
There's the throw, backside, and a long way across the field. Galloway, a catch and step right out of bounds with 10 seconds left against Melifonwu.
We've got an interesting scenario. Do you play for a little bit more yards? Do you take a shot here?
That's what I was getting ready to say. If you're going to take the shot, this has got to be it.
It's got to be right now.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And it's another one across the field, and with 6 seconds left, Galloway's out of bounds again. And now Potter will try and cover the rest. Didn't know if Clemson was going to go ahead and see if they could squeeze one more in. Because only 4 seconds came off the clock there.
No, it's too close at this point. You just got to go ahead and kick it. And
Potter missed from 37. This is from 36. And the kick away, and right down the seam for B.T. Potter. Ends the half. 27.
The half is not over. The half is.
Riley Johnson said the half was not over, but these teams are headed to the locker room. Trevor Lawrence, a couple of touchdowns. Interception by Garrett Williams, and
that is the end of the half.
And now the half is over. I think Mr. Johnson thought it might be a little difficult to get him back for a second.
Everyone disagreed with Riley Johnson there.
Well intended, though, Mr. Johnson. Tigers 27-14. Trevor Lawrence, a couple of touchdown passes and the interception, but Dabo Swinney's team with a 13-point lead, and he visits with Larisha Harris.
Coach, what variations need to be made to get you guys in a groove better offensively?
Just got to make the plays there. I mean, plays are there. We're not doing a good job of being Clemson, taking care of Clemson. You know, drop balls, missed throws. You know, had a lot there. We're just not executing. Just our precision. Just precision in what we're doing. I mean, you know, we get a block punt. We don't come down and cover a gap. You know, that's on us. You know, they're playing hard, and then we get a drop, a little inaccurate throw, but a play that we got two great players. They got to make the play. Pick six. So, you know, it's unfortunate to put our defense in two bad situations. But hey, that's a heck of a drive right there. You know, 89 yards there, I think what it was. You know, nice job coming away with some points. Good job to see BT go back out there. But you know, hey, this is a scrappy team. They always have been. But it's more about us. It's just us being precise in what we do, and we'll clean it up.
And what's that note, that message to your guys to solidify the second half for you all?
Just be Clemson. Just be who we are. That's
Gotcha.
it.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, very good. Thanks, Larisha. Appreciate Dabo Swinney stopping by. 27-14. Davis Allen a touchdown catch. Garrett Williams a pick six, though. Jordan Cornette is next from the studio. action in the noon hour gets us started on this day of ACC football, and we get ready to go the second half with Roddy Jones, Larisha Harris, West Durham. #1 Clemson with a 13-point lead on Syracuse. But looks can be deceiving, Roddy, in this opening 30.
Certainly can. Clemson has been uncharacteristic in this first half. They've had some gaffes. It started with a blocked punt early on that set Syracuse up with great field position, but Trevor Lawrence has struggled as well. A ball behind Amari Rogers. Garrett Williams has the pick 6, and that's not the only ball he put in danger today. An overthrow. Amon Greenwood had an opportunity, had 3 opportunities actually on that one to bring down an interception. It's been an uncharacteristically sloppy first half from the Clemson Tigers.
Let's check in with Larisha Harris. She's with Dino Babers.
Coach, your defense came away with a lot of big breaks, created opportunities for you all in the first half. What was your overall evaluation of what you've seen so far?
Well, they're really playing hard. This is a fantastic offense, and for them to be able to do the things that they've done, it's really a credit to how much they're fighting. But this team is really good. They've got 300 yards at halftime, and it's, hopefully it's a matter of time, but hopefully it's not today.
You told us, or talked to us rather, about the excitement that you had when you watched Sean Tucker. Are you pleased with what you've seen from him as well so far?
I'm really pleased with what I see with a lot of these young freshmen out here battling, even the ones that have 3 and 4 opportunities to catch a pick before it hits the ground. They've never been in front of fans. This is the first time they've been in front of fans in 2020, and it's different for them. So we can check that box and we can continue with their growth.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Roddy, to your point, Amon Greenwood.
Yeah, and Amon Greenwood has played pretty well with the exception of that one. Had a pass breakup early that, again, a veteran player probably steps in front, picks that off, and takes it for a touchdown. But this offense has an opportunity here. With Connor Lutz in the backfield, we saw Sean Tucker getting banged up. This offense has an opportunity to put some pressure on Clemson if they're able to come away with points.
All right, so with Lutz there, here's Culpepper, first down throw, and looked inside for Quealy. And Andrew Booth Jr., who played for Andy Dyer at Archer High School in Decula, Georgia, in the coverage.
Quealy has had some success against Andrew Booth today. For Clemson, I think it's all about, Dabo Swinney said it to Larisha before halftime, it's about Clemson getting back to Clemson. You got to make the plays, you got to fill the gaps, and you see what happens. It doesn't matter who your opponent is in this league. You see what happens if you don't. They can take advantage of it.
I couldn't agree, and this is where I think some of the talk we had with the Tiger staff this week regarding the mentality and the preparation they go through kind of comes into play here. Lutz got stacked up. In fact, he'll lose maybe 3 on the play. They'll only mark it for 2 to the 23. Balin Spector led the parade for the Tigers. Roddy, the formula of Clemson's success, and this is not a new thing, but how often do you hear them talk about what happens Monday through Friday before they get to Saturday? And you dig a little bit on that, and then you see guys like a Balin Spector, right, who emerges kind of from the depth chart into a starring role this year. Now, certainly Brent Venables does a great job, but Dabo Swinney's philosophy of this, I think, permeates why they're one of the elite teams in college football right now.
Absolutely, and this is a defense that is without James Skalski and Tyler Davis today as well, so playing a little shorthanded.
Yep. Culpepper on 3rd down, tries to get Quealy and does, and stepped out of bounds, shy of the first down at the 34. Andrew Booth was there, but another well-thrown ball for Anthony Quealy.
It's an interesting decision. It's probably a little out of the area where you would certainly go for it, but Dino Babers giving it a long look before he sends out the punt team.
Yep. So here comes Coney.
It's kind of one of those, you really want to go for it. And if you had a little bit better field position, you would. Being on the road against the #1 team in the country, I think I would have liked to see him be aggressive here.
Coney's averaged just 37 yards on 4 punts. He hangs this one high. Rogers will signal for the fair catch. It will hit. Booth got to get away from it. And it is finally touchdown around the 28-yard line. And with the 13-point lead, Dino Babers' team goes 3 and out. And so Trevor Lawrence and the Tigers come back to the field here. And you heard Dino Babers say 322 yards of offense in the first half, and By the Tiger standards, that wasn't good enough in the first 30.
Yeah, well, if you look at 20 for 32 with 203, 2 touchdowns and an interception, that's good enough for most people. But for Trevor Lawrence, that's not the standard that he has set. That's a little misleading.
ETN 70 yards away from Ted Brown as he takes off to the edge. And Travis will get 9 on first down. Up to the 37-yard line. Banged up a little bit in the first half. Was the senior from Jennings, Louisiana. Second and short for the Tigers. And ETN lowers the shoulder and drives toward the 44. 2 scoops of number 9 to start, and Lynn J. Dixon will come in to spell him here.
And I like it to start. Let's reassert the line of scrimmage is what Clemson has said. And let this offensive line, who's a physical group, has done a really nice job this year. Let them affect the game with Travis Etienne in the backfield.
And they're checking on Etienne again, and here is Lawrence looking to throw, flush from the pocket, now under duress, will sail it away into the Syracuse bench area. Out of the tackle box, Steve Linton and Kingsley Jonathan on the pressure of Trevor Lawrence there.
It's one of the better plays Trevor Lawrence has made today, being able to spin out of that potential sack and throw it away. Just get a shot at Kingsley Jonathan there, who was all in the grill of Lawrence.
Second down. Lynn J. Dixon trying to find a crease. Tried to bounce it outside, and Syracuse's pursuit comes up big there. Garrett Williams adds to his afternoon with a tackle behind the line.
Garrett Williams is going to be a really good player. You haven't seen a lot of the redshirt freshmen this season, but you're going to see a lot of them from here on out. Already with the pick 6, I believe that's Travis Etienne behind the trainer, bent over getting a drink of water. But it's third and quite a substantial chunk for Clemson here.
Yep. Take a look at Etienne on the bench, and Lawrence wanted to throw deep, comes back to Dixon, made a man miss, and Lynn J. Dixon got near midfield before he is pushed out of bounds. He made up a lot of ground on a 3rd and 15 play. Mikel Jones finally eased him out.
And Clemson's in go-for-it territory. The punt team is gathered around Dabo Sweeney. He's going to send out the punt crew. A little surprised by this. His defense has played well. He's got one of the best offenses in the country, but opting to punt it away.
Keep an eye on this punt unit, right?
Yeah, they've already faked one today. It's a good point, Wes.
Yep. Nakeem Johnson stands inside the 10. Jack Maddox handles the snap. We get a whistle, and procedure is the call on Clemson.
False start. Offense number 17. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Now remember, sometimes coaches have taken penalties and then faked it again.
Yeah, we saw that earlier this year.
Yep. Not this time. Spires lets it out. Johnson will field it inside the 5, and that's trouble. Mental error for Nakeem Johnson. Cornell Powell on the coverage. Tigers back up the orange with 10.5 to go in the 3rd. During the timeout here, Travis Etienne with the Clemson training staff on the jog to the locker room. So we'll keep an eye on that. But Nakeem Johnson fielded a punt from Will Spires inside the 5, and Cornell Powell led the Tiger punt cover. So Rex Culpepper and Syracuse, still trailing 13, where we were at the half, find themselves backed up here. And this is Cooper Lutz. Bounds out over the 10 to the 11-yard line before Charleston makes a stop. Cooper Lutz, by the way, from Reading, PA. Roddy, had offers from Army, Navy, and Columbia out of Berks Catholic. The only Power 5 offer he had was Syracuse.
And he's found himself in a situation with Sean Tucker. We have not seen him in the second half. Haven't seen him since getting rolled up on that right ankle.
Right.
Or it's going to be him the rest of the way. I don't know who else they have at running back, to be honest with you, Wes, with the injuries to Marquincy Pierre, Jawar Jordan, the opt-outs that they've had. Cooper Lutz may be the last body they've got there.
Might be. And that time, he doesn't get back to the line. Loss of a yard back to the 10. Maskell, redshirt sophomore from Snellville, Georgia, and Big Niles Pinckney, 44. And they take Pinckney out and bring Brazee in. It is an embarrassment of riches on the front here, Roddy.
Yeah, especially on that defensive line. And this third down, they found a lot of success with Anthony Quealy down to the bottom. He and Andrew Booth have had a battle back and forth. That's where you've seen a lot of these third down conversions come.
Yep.
It's the matchup right here between Quealy and Booth.
Here's Culpepper, long throw to the backside. The catch made and a first down. Turner out to make the tackle, and the catch for Ed Hendricks. Hendricks kind of getting in the stats here for the first time after a couple of years of a red shirt and some injury, and now a deep ball. Nakeem Johnson in stride. Johnson trying to win the foot race to the end zone and will. 73 yards against Joseph Charleston for Rex Culpepper.
Dino Babers has to be fired up on that sideline. You get the third down conversion. It's the first time we've seen tempo from Syracuse. The first time they've run up to the line of scrimmage and gone with any sort of tempo. You get a one-on-one matchup against the backup safety, Joseph Charleston, and Nakeem Johnson turns on the burners. We talked to Dino Babers about this. Georgia Tech had some opportunities that they weren't able to capitalize on. Clemson succumbs to one there.
4 plays, 96 yards in under 2 minutes, and 83 yards. Rex Culpepper to Nakeem Johnson. And it's gotten awfully quiet at Death Valley. 6-point game for #1 Clemson.
A little bit on the deep ball to that point, but it's a slot fade from Nakeem Johnson, and he wins the foot race against the backup safety, Joseph Charleston.
So Johnson into the end zone on Syracuse's longest play of the year. The other 2 long pass plays belong to Taj Harris, who's not with the Orange today.
And
their leading receiver.
And Dino Babers said Rex Culpepper played okay last week. The guys around him have to help out, and Nakeem Johnson did there.
Here's Lynn J. Dixon off the goal line for the Tigers. And he'll fight across the 20. And Clemson now, #1 in the country, will start inside its 25. We saw Travis Etienne go to the locker room, and as of yet have not seen him come back. Here is pesky Syracuse again, right?
Syracuse has played Clemson as well as anybody in the country. When you talk about on a year-in, year-out basis, anybody in the country, name them, and Syracuse has played them better. Syracuse has played Clemson better than them.
Ches Malusi's coming in the backfield. Here's Lawrence. He's going to take the shot down the field, and it's broken up by Williams on the way to Joseph Bengata. So Garrett Williams, one of those young players Larisha Harris asked Dino Babers about at the break, comes up again.
Just makes a nice play. Doesn't panic. And got to step on him. Doesn't panic. He recovers, sticks that hand up, and knocks the ball down. It's really good technique.
Tigers from the 24, 2nd and 10. Play fake by Lawrence. Inside route looking for Powell and broken up. And that was Melifonwu.
Downfield passing game just has not been there for Clemson today.
Right.
And Tony White's done a really nice job of calling this game in scenarios where he feels Clemson's going to run the ball. He's loaded the box. He's done a nice job of mixing up coverages, some man, some zone. that being helped by Trevor Lawrence having a little bit of an off day, it's been a nice plan for Syracuse.
Tigers are 6 of 12 on third down. This is the full 10 for Lawrence. In the pocket, under duress, tries to get away, cannot. He'll be sacked by McKinley Williams. And the Orange fans that are here have got to be thrilled with a 3-and-out after the long touchdown pass to Johnson.
I'm not sure that we've had a scenario today where I felt more like Syracuse is playing with the type of confidence that they are right now. This is really a coverage sack on the back end. Trevor Lawrence nowhere to go with the football, and McKinley Williams able to get him down, but Syracuse feels like they belong in this game at this point.
Absolutely, and here's Spires to punt for Johnson. 6-point game. Nakeem Johnson retreats to the 21. And he'll push it back upfield for about 11 yards on the return before Jake Venables makes the stop. So now, all of a sudden, the climate of the ball game, Roddy, has changed here in the first half of this third quarter of play.
It certainly has. At this point, you are no longer the underdog in this game. You're a team that has played like they belong on the stage with the #1 team in the country. So you go out and you play your game. And Rex Culpepper has done a nice job of getting them to this point. The question for Syracuse is, where do they find the consistency with, and do they find it in the run game with Cooper Lutz? Does Sean Tucker come back? It looks like Cooper Lutz back in the ball game at running back.
Yep.
Where's that consistency going to come from so they can put together another drive?
So Lutz, who only had about 19 yards on the ground this season prior to today, had an 11-yard run a moment ago and just straight ahead for a handful on first down. Mike Jones the stop. This game was 44.5 points was the margin for the Tigers.
Yeah, and I think at this point, anybody who took Syracuse is feeling really good about it. And Syracuse fans should feel really good because their team is playing better than Clemson at this point.
Yep. Tigers got a tight end in the slot. Now Benson here to the near side. Look at this, 2-by-2. Culpepper, quick throw, batted in the air and incomplete. KJ Henry get a hand on that one. The big defensive end.
We thought this defensive line was going to have a major impact in this game. They largely have not. Syracuse has been able to affect the game in the run game. There hasn't been a ton of pressure on Rex Culpepper. Now they've gotten the ball out of his hands pretty quick. But for the first time, you see Clemson jumping around. It's really the first time we've heard this crowd get into it the entire day.
Yep.
Dino Babers mentioned this is the first time Syracuse playing in front of a crowd this year.
Yep. Culpepper trying to find the first down stick. Sliding catch made in traffic. And that's Hendricks again. Near a first down ahead of Sheridan Jones.
They're going to mark him just short of it.
Fourth down.
Dino Babers with a big decision here. The defense has played well, and in these areas so far, he's tried it once, didn't make it. Looks like he's going to wait as long as possible, standing next to the referee. Looks like he's going to call a timeout to get a little bit more time to think about it.
Roddy, you're playing with house money here, though, right?
I'd say you go for it, but I've said that about with every fourth down today. but honestly, though, Wes, like that's the aggressiveness that you want to see from your play caller when you're on the road against the #1 team in the country.
There's no foul for delay of game. Syracuse took their first time out of this half.
So, fourth and not very long for Dino Babers' team. They've already gotten a long touchdown pass to draw within 6 of #1 Clemson. Georgia Tech, Boston College is game 2 of our ACC Network triple header, and then ACC Network primetime football presented by Geico tonight from the Hard Rock. Virginia and #11 Miami. Good luck to all of you. We got one on the burner right now. Syracuse is going to punt. And Amari Rogers will wait on Nolan Cooney's kick. And it's a good one. And Rogers going to let this go, and it stays out of the end zone and is down by the orange at the 2. The linebacker, Jeff Canton-Arku, did a great job to get down and cover that one, Roddy.
Well, it seems like most everything has gone Syracuse way, and the bounce of the football goes their way on this one. That's a nice job by Canton-Arku getting down there and covering it up, but a fantastic punt and a fortuitous bounce for the for the Syracuse Orange.
And now, off their own 3, here's the nation's #1 team with a 6-point advantage, and Ches Malusi has come in as the running back. Remember, Travis Etienne went to the locker room. We have seen Lynn J. Dixon back there, but here is Malusi, who had a score last week in Atlanta on the carry for maybe a yard to the 4. Tackle made by Curtis Harper. First time we've called Harper's name today. Redshirt junior.
And with Travis Etienne being out, I think it's worth mentioning the depth at running back for Clemson. It's been a bit of a concern this season after Etienne and Lynn J. Dixon. It's been a little up and down, and also DeMarcus Bowman opted not to play this season. He's going to transfer.
Yep. Here's Malusi on that sprint draw again from the gun, Roddy, and pushes it to about the 8 on the right side. Canton-Arku, the linebacker, led the white helmeted Syracuse charge. So now a team that is 6 of 13 on 3rd down has 3rd and roughly 5 on the play.
And from a field position standpoint, you just feel like this is a huge 3rd down. Amari Rogers in the slot to the top right here. Watch him.
Lawrence against 4-man pressure. Slips it here to the near side. And got the catch. And banged out of bounds near the 1st down. And that was the linebacker, Jeff Canton-Arku again. 31 in the orange shoes. Made the hit. And it is enough for the 1st down. Spot carried the ball toward the 14. 4:20 to go in the 3rd. Quick throw by Lawrence, trying to get it to Rogers. On the perimeter around Melifonwu, and Amari Rogers across the 35 to the 36 of Clemson. A lot happening on the line when Rogers made this catch.
What was a really nice block on the perimeter. Looked like that was E.J. Williams just with a little nudge to help spring Amari Rogers. He took one of those to the house against Syracuse last year up in the Dome.
Yep. And it's kind of his comeback game. Kobe Pace has come into the ball game. Lawrence, the snap got juggled, and he will step out of bounds back at the 15-yard line.
Hasn't it seemed like any time Clemson has got something going today, you have something like this happen, whether it be a blocked punt, an interception, the snap over the head. We've seen penalties with this offense.
I told you during the break, it seemed like Clemson was able to throw the fastball on the opening drive today. And since then, they've had to go to the other pitches. The fastball has not been available after that opening drive. Really, you know, what was it? It was 47 yards in 5 plays and 123. And since then, they've had a hard time going back to the strikeout pitch.
Yeah, they've been missing the strike zone with those other pitches.
Yeah. Here's Ngata, or Ladson, I beg your pardon, on the far sideline to the 25. And all of a sudden now 3rd and very long. Carter covering for the orange.
You know, we talked a lot about this young Syracuse defense.
Sure.
And this is a defense that if you're able to land a knockout blow early, they're going to feel like, oh man, this presumptive #1 overall pick, he is everything that we thought he was. Travis Etienne is everything we thought he was. But the more they've hung out, you started to see a little chippiness after plays. They are standing tall to Clemson.
Sure are. Here's Lawrence from the pocket, looking downfield for Powell, who cannot flag it in against Garrett Williams. Partisans here want a flag on Williams for pass interference and not getting it.
I like the call, or the no call, I should say. Powell was the one that sort of initiated the contact on Williams, and the way that ball was thrown, the contact with Williams didn't really affect his ability to go up and get it. especially when Cornell Powell is the one to initiate the contact.
Yeah. So the Orange, who lost last week by 17 at home to Liberty, and it really surrendered a lot of rushing yards in the last couple of ball games, Roddy.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden finds himself with about 17.5 minutes to go in the ball game against #1 to within 6.
Clemson has struggled getting kicks blocked this season.
And Spires going to try and flip this one over toward Johnson. It'll take a Tiger bounce and go out of bounds near the 31-yard line. 2:23 to go in the third.
Well, get the latest news and information from the ACC each morning with special guests from the world of sports.
Especially on Friday. Especially on Friday.
Especially on Friday.
Friday's guests are usually great.
Yeah, that's when I usually make my appearance. Packer and Durham weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on ACCN and the ESPN app. Pull up a chair with Wes Durham and Mark Packer.
You want to shout out to Mark while we're here?
Yeah.
He's watching.
Clemson alum, Mark Packer. He obviously.
How about the Lumberjacks? You guys shout out Drew and Josh?
Drew and Josh do a fantastic.
Okay.
That whole crew. I mean, you guys do such a nice job, and I'm just glad I get to pull up a chair with you every Saturday too.
I'm glad to have you back. Eric Wood and I were in Winston last week. Good to have you back. Welcome back.
No, well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's good to
We'll be
back.
together next Saturday, too, for Virginia Tech in Louisville. Here is Lutz trying to keep it to the perimeter, and look at the Tigers go swarming with Turner. And Nolan Turner going to shove him out of bounds. Back around the 30-yard line. Maybe a loss of 1 on the play for the Orange. All right, if you're Syracuse here, you can't think of the old PGA Tour. You can't look at the scoreboard here, can you?
No, they certainly know they're in the game. I think that the most you look at the scoreboard is to know that you can play with this team.
Before the officials were ready and in position, we'll replay that down at second down. Set the clock to 25 seconds.
Riley Johnson kind of getting a little of the mechanics put together.
Well, Syracuse has gone with tempo once today, and that was on the big touchdown. And they were trying to go with tempo there again, and it kind of caught the referees off guard.
Yep.
And Riley Johnson and his crew have been used to a meandering pace, but Syracuse can ramp it up with the best of them.
Sterling Gilbert was the offensive coordinator for Dino Babers. He's got an array of cards and charts and carries a full laminated sheet with him. Here's Culpepper under duress, and Jones had him. Ball pop loose. A phrase scooped up. Andrew Booth to the house.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Clemson. Touchdown.
Well, if the one-hand pick against Lavelle Davis of Virginia wasn't good enough, here's Booth showing he can field ground balls with the best of them. Brzee knocks it loose.
The play was made by Mike Jones up against Connor Lutz in the backfield. Cooper Lutz, excuse me, in the backfield. Is able to get the hand on Rex Culpepper, but Culpepper has to know that once you're wrapped up, you got to tug that ball away, secure it. Brzee pokes it out, and Andrew Booth goes to the house.
We've had a pair of defensive scores in the ball game. Garrett Williams picked 6 in the first half for the Orange. First time that's happened to Trevor Lawrence in his career. And now Andrew Booth has made another great play after Mike Jones and Brian Brzee factor into it for the Tigers.
Yeah, you see Culpepper has the ball tucked, but then takes it out, thinking he's going to get loose and maybe throw the ball away. That's when Brzee comes, knocks it out, and that's the easiest touchdown Andrew Booth's going to score his entire career. Nobody in front of him, and man, it just feels like disaster for Syracuse. You're hanging on in this one, and when you're on the road against the #1 team, it always feels like you're hanging on by a thread, and you're just looking to make that last climb to tie the ball game up or take the lead, and then you have something like this happen that puts you in a 2-score hole.
Roddy, we were just talking about mentality, right? With 17.5 minutes to go in the ball game. How are you going to handle it? The Orange have put Trevor Pena on the field, a wide receiver freshman from Ocean Township, New Jersey, who is a high school running back to return the kick here. And there'll be no return for Pena and the Orange. And Now all of a sudden, the dynamic of this has changed drastically. Travis Etienne now coming out of the locker room. And the crowd to its feet welcomes number 9 back. He's 54 yards from tying Ted Brown, 55 from the ACC career rushing crowd.
Again, this crowd that really slept through the first half got excited on that scoop and score for a touchdown, and then with Travis Etienne coming on the field, they're excited once again.
Yep, here's Lutz, and not much. Pushes it enough to get a yard, maybe 3. Thomas wrapped him up. And the final 70 seconds of this third period. And Etienne lacing them up.
Yeah, but Wes, on the Syracuse side, you saw Mike Jones on that blitz was up against Cooper Lutz. Sean Tucker, again, the freshman, out of this game. We have not seen him since he got rolled up. He's sitting on the sideline. No helmet around him.
Yep.
We have not seen him since, and so the pass protection, the carries are all going to be on Cooper Lutz.
Yep. Here's Culpepper, stop and go, up in the pocket and sandwiched. Thomas got to him. Xavier Thomas drops him shy of the 27. And if the Orange wants, that can be the final play of the third.
I think if I were Dino Babers, I would want that. You need just a second to regroup. This Clemson defense is finally awakened.
Yep.
They have not played poorly, but they've given up some plays, and they've kind of felt like they just assumed that this was a foregone conclusion today against the Orange.
3 quarters of play in the book here at Frank Howard Field. Number 1's in front, but it has been a little interesting this afternoon. Fourth quarter next on ACC Network. Well, Travis Etienne is back, and Roddy, I'll ask you about this. It looks like a lot of hamstring. We're not getting any official declarations on any of the injuries from both schools, and that's fine. But Etienne looks like they're stretching him out, trying to keep him loose here.
Yeah, and he'll get an opportunity to come back in the game potentially if Syracuse is able to convert this third down. Dino Babers calls a timeout. That's got to be frustrating.
Syracuse.
You're coming out of a quarter break, and you've got to burn a timeout.
30-second timeout.
So Dino Babers, who up until the Jones fumble return for a score had the nation's number 1 within 6 points, and then the Booth fumble, scoop, and score has pushed it back to 13 as we are here in the fourth. Don't forget, more ACC football coming up here on ACCN. Georgia Tech and Boston College at 4 o'clock. And by the way, the house divided in the booth. Georgia Tech grad Chris Cotter, BC grad Mark Hersley. Roddy?
I expect that to be brought up on the air. I mean, Kelsey Riggs on the sideline, if nothing else, has got to bring that up.
Yeah, mediate, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that follows us. And then ACC Network Primetime Football presented by Geico with Dave O'Brien, Tim Hasselbeck, and Katie George. Virginia at Miami, and Culpepper trying to throw deep and overthrows the intended receiver, and that was Sherrod Johnson. Speaking of Miami, out of Booker T. Washington, Nolan Turner and one of the fastest Tigers, Landon Zanders, in coverage.
They got Johnson matched up on one of those safeties, and Nolan Turner, the veteran, does a nice job on that one, and Rex Culpepper not able to convert.
So the 21-yard fumble return seemingly has sparked the Tigers. 3 and out, and Cooney airs it for Amari Rogers, and a fair catch made at the 33. So that's where the Tigers will get started. By the way, a win today, Clemson would go to 6-0 to start the season for the 16th time. As you see Travis Etienne trying to get in the mix with this offense. And if they do it today, 8 of those 16, Roddy, would come in the Dabo Swinney administration.
Well, the Dabo and Swinney administration has been incredibly impressive. This guy, Travis Etienne, is incredibly impressive. Haven't seen him for a while. We saw him getting stretched out on the sideline. See if they go to him early to get him a little lathered up.
Yep. Saw the details, about 55 yards away. Quick throw on the perimeter. Here's Amari Rogers firing through across midfield, down the far sideline. Hannah might have saved the touchdown.
They've gone to this play over and over. It's a heavy box, and you got numbers on the outside. Just toss it out to Amari Rogers. Stepped out a lot sooner than I initially anticipated. It's still a nice game.
Lawrence, quick throw. Here's Rogers going to work again on the perimeter. And a face mask flag will come in against Melifonwu as Rogers is able to get down to about the 38-yard line. And here's Riley Johnson to tell us about it.
Personal foul, face mask, defense. 15-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Roddy and LaRish, I enjoyed our visit with Amari Rogers this week. I mean, number one, quiet, laid-back guy, but values kind of getting better and understands that a year ago, after an ACL injury in the spring of 19, Roddy, he was able to get back and contribute to this football team. Here's Lawrence after the penalty on a first down. He's going to slip it to Etienne as a receiver with blockers. And he'll crash the 10 to the 8, and we'll have first and goal. Jones and Williams on the stop for the Orange.
You mentioned our conversation with Amari Rogers. When you think about Rogers, Etienne, Lawrence, all of them extremely talented players, but all of them incredibly humble, incredibly focused, team-oriented, mature players as well. And that comes from the top down. It's the culture of this program.
Here's Etienne at the 5 and touchdown. Second rushing score of the day for Etienne.
Saw the incredible patience of Travis Etienne on this one. You see, waiting for that hole to open and then bursting through. That's something that a young Travis Etienne would not have done quite as much as he's matured, as he's gotten older. And so much better at the little things that it takes to be a good running back. And Clemson's got the offense on the field going for 2.
Yep, Tigers trying to make it a 3-touchdown difference. Kobe Pace into the ball game wearing number 14. Young running back from Cedartown, Georgia. That's Rogers in motion for Lawrence. Trevor looks right, going to sail it for Galloway and overthrows it. And complete. Williams in coverage for the Orange, but Travis Etienne has scored from 25, and here a moment ago, 9 yards out. Tigers by 19. Social distancing that we've seen in a lot of venues that are allowing a percentage of fans to attend, and right around 18,800 here today at Clemson. And tip of the cap to Dr. Jim Clemens, the president, Dan Radakovich, the athletic director, and their staff here. They've figured out a way to map this facility out.
Mapping out challenging, putting out all those bleachers also challenging. This is a huge stadium that you're having to measure 6 feet between, but you're right, a great job.
There'll be no return. Syracuse from its 25, Larisha.
Well, as I mentioned at the top of the game, you guys, they are bringing awareness to breast cancer, and they started a campaign, Tigers for Tatas. T-shirts were sold, wristbands were sold, and all of that money goes directly to Dabo Swinney's foundation, the All In Foundation. They have a mobile big pink bus where you can go and get mammograms, and it goes all around the area, the surrounding communities. It's for low-income families who don't often get the opportunity to get themselves checked, and they just recently purchased the second mobile bus, another big pink you'll see riding around to cover more ground. Dabo Swinney says, we know that this effort is near and dear to the Sweeney family. Dabo's wife, Kathleen, lost her older sister to breast cancer. And so they believe research and early detection will save lives. And so that's why we see the Tigers for Tata's campaign and Specks of Pink all throughout the stadium today.
It's a wonderful effort. And here's Cooper Lutz on first down, and he got hit right at the line. And Tyler Venables, former high school quarterback, now true freshman here playing for his dad on the defensive side, made the play. Dabo and Kathleen Sweeney have been need to be commended, Roddy, for all the work they do here in the upstate with the All-In Foundation. But this effort, especially T-shirts, wristbands, all sorts of things contributing to the cause. And we talked to Dabo yesterday. We said, so what else do you have? He said, well, it's too bad we can't see you because I got my pink blazer and my pink tie on. We got some early movement. And
offside, defense number 11 with contact. 5-yard penalty, second out.
Brzee and Miles Murphy both moved about the same time. When you talk about Brzee and Murphy together, that's only the #1 and #3 defensive players in the country, according to our ESPN recruiting folks, Tom Luganbill and the group.
And they nailed it with those two guys,
Yeah,
because the
yeah,
way
they got that
played,
one right. Good job there, fellas.
The way they played, they certainly have lived up to the billing.
Culpepper, second down throw. First down catch out to the 40-yard line. And another grab for the redshirt junior Sherrod Johnson. Came into the ballgame with just 1 catch on the year, and that was in game 1 at Carolina.
And Wes, this game has gotten out of hand to from Syracuse a little bit, and that was always a possibility with when you're playing Clemson. But the way that they performed, what you're looking for now with Dino Babers is looking to finish. Who of this team is going to finish this game, even though you now find yourself down 19 points? And maybe, just maybe, if you keep chipping away, you can claw back and bring it as close as it was earlier in this quarter.
And now we got flags and movement on the orange.
False start, offense number 63. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And that's the Rhino, Chris Elmore, who is in that offensive line because of some injuries and attrition. And he's been there since game 1. And that, Roddy, is trying to put a different type skill player in a position he had not played. Now, he had played defensive tackle, tight end, kind of an H-back, the aforementioned Rhino.
But Dino Babers just gushes about Chris Elmore. I mean, when you talk about a guy that has the versatility to play all those different positions, he's incredibly proud of the way he's played this year at guard.
Here's the throw, intercepted. Mike Jones. And did he get in? No. Out of bounds inside the 5 is Jones. Nakeem Johnson saved the touchdown. I think Mike Jones thought he was headed for the house here, Roddy.
Mike Jones thought he had 6. There's nothing in front of him but the restaurant, and he was walking up to the table saying, "Excuse me, I've got reservations," but he was tracked down by the receiver. This was quite the race, and Rex Culpepper just didn't see the defender coming from the inside. Talk about effort. That's a great effort by Nakeem Johnson to track down Jones and push him out of bounds.
Trevor Lawrence comes back out with Ches Malusi behind him. J.C. Chalk has come in as a tight end. Malusi, and wrapped up right as he got to the line. Kingsley Jonathan, and the ball came loose as Syracuse thinks they have it here.
You got a referee running in from the far side. I think they're going to say forward progress. They're going to call forward progress on this one.
Riley Johnson.
We're rolling on the field. The runner's forward progress will stop. Second out.
And you'll see we're next door to the replay booth here at Clemson. Joe Ryder is our replay official. Rick Page is the communicator today with Riley Johnson.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 11:15 and start it on my whistle. Thank you.
Travis Etienne has come back in the ball game now to replace Malusi. That's chalk in motion. Quick handoff, Etienne. Digs through. Did he get in? And it looks like it'll be 3rd and goal. Travis bidding for his 3rd touchdown of the day. Lawrence has 2 through the air. Etienne's got 2 on the ground. And you see it's just 44 yards away here in the 4th quarter from Ted Brown's mark. And it looks like we're going to get a stoppage here for review.
The ruling on the field, the runner short of the goal line is under further review.
So we will go to review with just better than 4 minutes gone here in the 4th quarter. Interesting that we started this period right after Booth's fumble return. Here's another look at Etienne. And I don't see anything lead you to believe he got in, do you? Right there's the ball hanging kind of toward the goal line, but I'm not sure it's enough to overturn the call, Roddy.
No, you're looking for indisputable video evidence,
right.
And there is a plethora of disputable evidence in that one.
So Syracuse is down 6. All of a sudden, Brzee and Jones force the fumble. Booth picks it up. He goes 21 yards. And in a flash, that one play, Roddy, and we talk about this program and Clemson, I mean, we had said moments before, kind of a day where the Tigers didn't seemingly have their fastball.
Yeah, but you get a boost of a play off of a great effort by 2 guys, Mike Jones.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
Mike Jones and Brian Brzee, and the ball ends up in the end zone, and then Clemson just decides, all right, we've played around long enough. And as you've said a number of times today, Clemson threw the fastball. They've had to try and find some other things. And to be quite honest with you, Syracuse has done a nice job of parrying all of the attacks that Clemson has sent their way. I mean, it's been an impressive plan by Tony White on the defense. I think what you've seen on the other side from Sterling Gilbert and Dino Babers has done enough did enough to keep him in the game, but ultimately Clemson has really asserted its dominance in the 4th quarter.
3rd and goal. Lawrence to Etienne, touchdown. Another touchdown run for Travis Etienne here in the 4th quarter with 10:45 to go. And Roddy, that is 64 career touchdowns.
Absolutely incredible.
On the ground, by the way.
Yeah, this one of the shorter ones that he'll have had. But all set up by the interception by Mike Jones, who's had himself a day.
Yep. Syracuse has turned it over 3 times. Clemson's gotten 17 points out of it today. Etienne's been in the end zone 3 times. Clemson now in front 26 points at home.
Somebody give me something to believe.
ESPN, home of the College Football Playoff.
Clemson Sports Information Director Tim Beret, Roddy. What all-pro running back originally committed to Clemson out of high school before changing his mind and going to Syracuse? Answer in a moment. Pena on the return now for the Orange. Here's the young freshman working his way back to the 20 and out to about the 23. You got an answer for me?
I don't know.
Come on, Jim Brown?
Jim
Brown.
No idea.
How about Larry Zonka?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
How about that, huh?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, could have gone down the list of Syracuse running backs that became all pros. So I guess I would have eventually gotten there.
Yeah.
Probably would have taken a couple more guesses.
Yeah.
It's a good one, though.
Not many played on the undefeated Dolphins, of course, 1972. Keith McGuire, the tackle for the Tigers there of Cooper Lutz. McGuire, freshman from Pennsylvania. Larry Zonka. Good stuff, Beret. We expect nothing else, though. High-level intel.
I don't know who else in the country would have known that he was committed to Clemson.
Well,
you know?
Tim, that's why we offered it up as our athletic trivia question. Can't have layups every week, right?
No, they certainly cannot.
Got to be able to make jump shots. There's Lutz again trying to get to the perimeter. Knocked down around the 30. It'll be 3rd and 5 for the Orange, under 10 to go now. Sheridan Jones and Niles Pinckney. I suspect that Dabo Swinney and his staff will get a lot out of the tape tomorrow.
Well,
Teachable moments.
I would anticipate practice this week is going to be one of the more competitive that Clemson has had, maybe of the season, just because of the overall malaise that has kind of been over most of this game. And this is an interesting call, honestly, for Syracuse. What's Syracuse comfort with putting the ball in the air for Rex Culpepper?
And we get a stoppage of play and a timeout for
Before
the
the
Orange.
snap, timeout. Syracuse, that is their 3rd and final timeout of this half.
All right, so the Orange out of timeouts, just ahead of 9 to go. Number 1 in front by 26 when we come back. Orange out of timeouts now with 9:10 to go. And number 1 Clemson in front 47 to 21. 21 in a row by the Tigers.
And before the timeout, Syracuse looked like it was going to run the ball. Rex Culpepper having struggled in the pass game. Let's see what they do out of the timeout.
Culpepper hands to Lutz, little reverse. Here comes Nakeem Johnson around the other way, trying to get the edge turn. Johnson into the open field, and now it's a foot race down in front of the Tiger bench, and he's tackled at the 10-yard line. Jalen Phillips pushed him out of bounds at the 9.
This is the type of play that you expect out of a timeout. Give the ball to Cooper Lutz, who tosses it back to Nakeem Johnson, and look at these blocks, just little nudges until you get downfield, and it springs Nakeem Johnson, who, as you said, was in a foot race. It's a nice job hustling on the back end by the Clemson defense.
8.5 to go now. Syracuse has gotten some explosive plays today, offensively and defensively. Culpepper to the end zone, intercepted. Second of the day. No, Jalen Phillips, the pick.
Jalen Phillips, the guy that just ran down Nakeem Johnson, makes the effort play to start and then gets rewarded with great coverage on the tight end, jumps in front of the pass, and it's the 3rd interception of the day for Rex Culpepper. Just a mistake of a throw. You should not throw this ball. And once again, Clemson able to find the ball in their hands. And that's what I was alluding to on 3rd down. The fact that Syracuse has struggled struggled from throwing the ball to the other team in this 4th quarter. Rex Culpepper does it again. And what a nice job by Jalen Phillips of hustling and then getting the reward.
And here comes DJ Uiagalelei, the freshman from Inland Empire, California, now at the wheel for Dabo Swinney. Kobe Pace gets the first carry, and there is a look at the 6'4", 250-pound freshman.
Injury timeout.
Who is just 11 of 16 passing for 91 yards.
Jeff Canton-Arcou is down for Syracuse. This is a Syracuse defense that's been decimated by injury and has played so tough today, and Canton-Arcou has done a really nice job today.
So, Larisha, we get to finally see Uiagalelei here in the 4th quarter.
We do. We get to see DJ, and when we spoke with offensive coordinator Tony Elliott, he told us, you know, he's growing from the standpoint of being in complete control of his arm. Even Trevor Lawrence talked about how massive his arm strength was. But Coach Tony Elliott said he's learning that touch. That's an area he can grow the most, learning that touch and that pocket presence.
And a handoff, and Pace will push it for the first down to the 16-yard line with under 8 to play. And Lee Koba, sophomore linebacker for the Orange, making the stop. And when you talk about Uiagalelei, you're talking about a guy who has played 44 plays, 44 snaps in 4 games so far. Roddy did not play last week in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. But the flash, when the flash shows up, it's compelling stuff. Now Pace trying to find a crack and pushes for about 4 to the 20 here. And the arm strength is the first thing everybody talks about.
Yeah, Tony Elliott said he's got the strongest arm he's ever seen. As you get a look at Kobe Pace, another fantastic freshman. But DJ Uiagalelei is a guy that with the size that he has and the arm strength, he's drawn comparisons to Cam Newton because he's got incredible athleticism and ability to run. And you don't have to ask very much before everybody around this Clemson program starts gushing over him.
Yep. And the 19th carry of the year for Darian Rencher. We'll push it to about the 26-yard line. And Rencher, who played in Anderson, South Carolina for T.L. Hanna, is a guy who has been a big part of Clemson's off-field work in the offseason.
Yeah, he certainly has. Was a big organizer for all of their activism and social justice. Got Trevor Lawrence involved in a lot of it due to their close friendship. He's quite the impressive young man.
Yes, he is. You get the impression Darian Rencher's already, whether his 5th year at Clemson is his final year of football, he's already done enough internship work that he'd be attractive to just about any business. Here is Chalk. The catch out of the backfield, and the tight end to the 37-yard line. Rencher, by the way, interned not this past summer, but the summer of 2019 with the National Football League.
He's one of those dudes that he's going to be all right whenever he leaves Clemson. And just like the guy on the right is, Trevor Lawrence, their paths in football may take different ways, but their paths in success are going to be going the same direction. That's up and to the right on the graph.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
By stock in those two guys.
By stock in those two. And Rencher again across the 40 to the 41. By the way, his dad, Darian's dad, was in track here at Clemson. Still in the top 10 on a couple of lists there. And he gets a run here, and Pace will spell him at the running back spot. By the way, the Sweeney family all happy. Will is on the field now, 22 for the Tigers, at one of the wide receiver spots, along with Will Brown at the bottom of your screen. Uiagalelei tried to find Chalk, and Roddy, he pumped it and then flicked it 35.
Base isn't set, or the base is set. But his legs are spread. Doesn't step into the throw. Just flicks it out there, and you know it's just a 35-yard seed. It's a little overthrown, but I mean the arm strength is impressive. He's got all the physical
Is this the first time
abilities.
you've seen him live? It's my first time.
Yes, it is the first time seeing him live.
That right there is abnormal.
It is. You know, Dabo Swinney said something earlier this year that really stood out to me. When he was asked about DJ, he said he makes Trevor Lawrence look like a normal quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence is a superhuman.
Right. Third down here for the Tigers. Uiagalelei, and threw it behind Chalk. Incomplete. And with 4:40 to go, Clemson will have to punt it away. And there is Cartersville, Georgia's Trevor Lawrence, who, by the way, since his freshman year in high school, has not lost a regular season game as a starter.
Wow, that's an impressive record.
Yep. His one college loss, of course, in the national championship game against LSU. His 2 high school losses were both in the state playoffs. One as a senior, the other as a freshman. inspires a knuckleball to the Syracuse end of the field. Johnson will run away from this, and look at Zanders beat everybody down the field. Tigers will touch it inside the 10, and we get a break. 4.5 to play. Dabo Sweeney's team on their way to a 6-0 start here today at home.
Welcome back to Death Valley. Well, as you can see here on your screen, Rex Culpepper, Brayson Melton. These two actually connected because Brayson Melton told me that the story of Rex Culpepper resonated in his heart, and that's because Brayson Melton is also a cancer survivor. He told me about their friendship prior to the game, and he told me that Rex Culpepper is the reason why he was able to find hope again.
Wow. How about that? Syracuse starts from inside the 10. Larisha, it's a story that has been somewhat documented, but what an inspiration Rex Culpepper became for this young man, right?
For sure. Brayson told me that they met about 2 years ago, and what really connected them is because Brayson played football in high school, and he was looking for someone who, you know, had that ability to keep pushing while also battling cancer, and he said he found that in Rex Culpepper, and they connected. He was definitely inspired when Rex Culpepper threw that touchdown during the Pitt game, and now they still continue. They still have their friendship. They continue to talk, and they continue to motivate each other, and I think it's just really awesome to actually see these two here today.
Yep. Great stuff. Thank you very much. And
you know, Wes, you just never know who your story is impacting.
Yep.
You know, when you're going through a tough time and you fight through it like Rex Culpepper did, you don't know how many people are touched by that story. And you know, on a day like today where you're raising awareness for breast cancer, we have a cancer survivor who's starting at quarterback for our Power 5 program.
Right.
It's an incredibly powerful story that Rex Culpepper has, and that inspiration is certainly something that should not be taken lightly.
Well, Culpepper's day is done, and that means for Syracuse, with Tommy DeVito out, Roddy, we're getting the first collegiate snaps now of Jacobian Morgan, a 6'4", 203-pound freshman from Canton, Mississippi, who a year ago threw for 2,500 yards and 27 touchdowns. And so Morgan is in as the Orange continue to chew it up. Mackenzie Pierre getting the carry as you see Morgan here. Tackle made by Tyler Venables.
And we asked Dino Babers if he thought these young guys were going to play. He said, we're going to have to get them some snaps eventually, because from a depth standpoint, you just never know when their number is going to be called. And getting Morgan and Dylan Markowitz, if we see him as well, that's going to be paramount for Syracuse. You have to feel at least halfway decent about your backup quarterbacks going into each game.
And the Orange is running out the fourth quarter clock. Here goes Pierre out to nearly the 24-yard line on first down. Tackle made by Levante Bentley. And so Dino Babers' team going to come up short here. They'll go to 1-5 overall, 1-4 in the ACC, with Wake Forest coming to Central New York next Saturday. Clemson is going to win their 26th straight game at home, their 35th straight regular season win, and their 27th straight against the ACC.
I don't think Clemson has made it look so easy at times. I don't think people understand how hard that is, because even on a day like today, Clemson probably played a D game today, and you're still able to come out with, it looks like you're going to be a 26-point win. I mean, that's incredible.
Yep. And with 90 seconds left, Bentley another stop of Bellamy. The Tigers will have Boston College here next Saturday. And then, Roddy, South Bend, Indiana looms.
Well, I think this game shows you that Clemson is going to have to play well to beat any team in the ACC. And while I said they played their D game, they had enough down the stretch, especially defensively, to make some plays when the offense did not play well. And Boston College can move the ball. Boston College can put up some points and Phil Dracovic.
They will throw it, as you'll see coming up in game 2 of our triple header. Chris Cotter, Mark Herslick, Kelsey Riggs standing by at Alumni Stadium. Here is Pierre on a reroute, trying to get the first down, and took a lick. That's Tyler Venables and Fred Davis out in space. And that'll get us to the final minute. Don't forget you've got that ball game, Virginia-Miami, and then Huddle late night, Huddle after dark.
Oh, man, Huddle after dark. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen the Huddle after dark, you got to watch it. The ties come off, Wes.
Ties come off.
When the ties come off,
that's it.
Anything goes.
It's late night with the Huddle. Jordan Cornette, Mark Rick, Eric McLean, E.J. Manuel. The Huddle after dark. Doesn't say that on the screen, but that's what we refer to it as here at noon.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. Dabo Swinney and Dino Babers, a lot of respect. They they wave to one another, and respect out of each other for obviously what we're going through in this pandemic. So 47-21 is the final. Clemson goes to 6-0 for the 8th time under Dabo Swinney and for the 16th time in program history. Let's check into the ACC Network studio before we take you to Boston. Fellas?